Okay. Preparing to live stream the meeting. Do 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 do. And we are live. Hey everybody, you are watching and listening to the We Are Rizin podcast. This is your host Andrew Benjamin, and I'm joined by my less than the Miz. Oh fuck, I fucked it up. Less famous than the Miz co-host Jay Christian Gary from Focus Fights.
Good evening, everybody. And yeah, you can also say that I'm less famous than Maxwell Jacob Freudman, too. And also, we got JayWolf, who's all the way out in California. And we got CJ, Charles Jewett, originally from Indianapolis, Indiana, who's all the way out in Japan, as we have a doozy of a show to talk about because, oh, by the way, we're less than 24 hours away from Rizin Trigger, the first ever cage show that's going to happen live from the Kobe War Memorial Hall in Kobe, Hyogo, Japan. That show will be $29.99 on Live Now if you're paying for the double bundle for both that and Rizin 32. But Andrew, why don't you explain more about that show? Why don't you?
Sure. So we have an interesting card. So we got three types of Rizin shows. We got the no or small audience shows, which are landmark and also not available to us internationally shows. But we got the numbered shows, which are I guess would be equivalent to their big shows, and we got kind of like a little mid-tier show. And it's Sakaki Bar said that it's an opportunity to give veterans to fight up and comers to come back from losses, to discover new talent, as well as kind of get talent acclimated to a cage in case if they do ever go to like a UFC or Bellator. CJ, since you have access to all the Rizin shows and you pay attention to so much Rizin, I'm curious to know on paper, what do you think about this concept for this show, and what do you think? How do you think the show looks?
Oh, the Trigger show?
Yes.
I think this is all just kind of an experiment by Rizin because they're trying to get off the Fuji television tit and get some money of their own, especially since they had that scare, was it probably last year? And what the last landmark show did, it allegedly 80,000 pay-per-views, so about $4 million. So I think that show had Mikuru on it. So now they're trying to test if we have someone besides Mikuru on it, like a Shoji, can we also make good pay-per-view money? So I think that's the theory. Plus, I know that the international fans always get upset about the cage, but it does get some news and attention in Japan. And so as long as they're not bringing it to the main Rizin show, I'm fine with it. And I was just curious. I was doing the math earlier, and I think 16 of the fighters on this card are from Kansai.
Oh, yes.
A further 6 are from southern Japan, like even farther south than Kansai. So it's like this is very much a local card. And I think Babalu Jack's going. So I think it's going to sell tickets. A lot of people are going to go to it. And they're interested to see if the people in the co-main are good enough to generate some decent pay-per-view revenue.
Did you take a guess that they're from Osaka by just seeing if they have tattoos and be like, oh yeah, they're definitely from Osaka?
How tan they were and how many tattoos they had. Yeah.
Yes. That is how I figure out. I can immediately now look at a fighter and be like, oh yeah, he's definitely from Osaka if he has tattoos. That is
bleached blonde hair, tattoos, starting to get strong Osaka vibes.
Yes, exactly. Oh yeah. That's the trait of an Osaka fighter. JayWolf, I know you've been frothing at the mouth probably since all the fights were announced. What do you think? How do you think this show looks on paper to you?
I absolutely love it. This is a historical show. Okay, this is the first time in the cage that this rule set is happening. Besides, of course, the original UFC, but this is actual full contact. We're talking stomps, Dream, and all those other things. Ones in the cage, Japanese MMA in the cage. They didn't have no stomps. They didn't have flying stomps. They didn't have soccer kicks. None of that. Okay. Epic Rizin, it has a full superior rule set in the cage. This is historic. It's going to be so much fun. I cannot wait. And I'm just so excited. And people are back, but this is a side project for Sakaki Bara-san. he's not changing up the Epic Rizin ring to a cage. This is just an extra bonus. This is like the gravy event. This is like the gravy to the Epic Rizin rings turkey. You know what I mean? This is like a bonus. It's so much fun. I cannot wait. If you remember, one championship, the way that they blew up is by allowing Pride rules in the cage. They were once that Arlovsky Sylvia fight, when they finally allowed soccer kicks after that, and they allowed Pride rules in the cage. They didn't have stomps or anything, but they still allowed soccer kicks and grounded knees. That's when that one champion started to take off. And then, of course, they banned it once they got big with sponsors and everything. But the point is that Pride rules in a cage is awesome. And I cannot wait. It's going to be so much fun. And I'm so glad I already got the bundle and everything. You saw what happened last week with Epic Rizin 32. I mean, look at the action that happened in that one with the superior rule set. That's happening in the cage. And there's going to be, think of all the stuff that's not, that this cured. No more restarts. Of course, we have to deal with maybe cage grabbing and stuff like that, but eliminating restarts, that's huge. That was one of the only criticisms of the almighty Pride FC back in the day, was because every once in a while there was a restart, because of the ring. But now in the cage, no more restarts and everything. Hopefully, and you know what? Hopefully they let them bleed too. That's one of the things in Japan they need to start doing. Because they allow all elbows. One of the best things, they allow 12 to 6 elbows, everything, right? And that's going to cut them up. So they need to start allowing them to bleed as well. But anyways, this is all. This Rizin trigger, the Epic Rizin rules in a cage, it's going to be so much fun, you guys. I just cannot wait. It's going to be so much fun. I hope that since there's no UFC this weekend, that a lot of international fans pay attention. And with the cage, maybe that will help entice him. That's what you guys were saying. Sakaki Barasan was thinking, right, of having this bonus gravy event, in the cage, and maybe it will attract some more international fans, which is going to be fantastic. And it's just, I just cannot wait. I mean, it's going to be so much fun. I'm just hoping for just graphic violence and just so much action. It's going to be awesome. So I'm super pumped, as you can tell.
CJ,
can I just say that I love the Andrei Arlovsky Tim Sylvia 1FC fight, because Andrei Arlovsky was disqualified for the soccer kick because he's 1FC.
Yeah,
wait for the
that's
referee
what got them to allow it. Yes,
the ref had to nod at you, yes, you can kill him. And Andrei Arlovsky was like, I don't give a shit if you DQ me. I'm soccer kicking Tim Sylvia the second I have the chance.
CJ, I'm CJ. I'm curious to know, have you been paying attention to how ticket sales have been for this show? If there's any word, or
I haven't heard any word about it, but I mean, Kansai has a pretty big fan base, and I don't think it's gonna be at a huge venue, so I think it'll sell well. Because I've noticed in the Tokyo shows, the Osaka crowds come up to the the Tokyo shows, so you got to think they're going to go to the show in Kyoto, which is right next to Osaka. Plus, I think Smoker Jim kind of has this little cult following with them as well. Oh,
that's probably my favorite. Besides Brave, probably my favorite gym. I love following those crazy fuckers on Instagram. They are the most interesting gym. I think that's coming out of Japan. I guess the new up and coming gym. I guess.
First they gotta start winning some fights.
Well, that's beside the point. Yes, they gotta start winning. They gotta stop smoking and start winning. But we're gonna start off, unfortunately, for fights that don't have Pride rules, the kickboxing fights, we're just gonna quickly go for them, because I think that we're, for the most part, again, kickboxing is not our forte. I mean, we do have some known kickboxers on this. I'm just gonna read them off quickly, and I'll ask the panel if there's any quick thoughts on these four. Opening the card will be Tsubasa Mori taking on Fujimon. Thing I don't like is that the card that Verizon released does not list Fujimon's full name. It's Fujimon Heart.
Heart emoji, yeah.
Yes.
Heart emoji.
Yes, and he's not the only fighter to do that. And I'm disappointed that they do not announce the name as Fujimon Heart, or the other one the one who fights in Rise. Who also goes by Erica Hart.
Oh, yes. Mm-hmm.
So we got Tsubasa Mori taking on Fujimon. Momika, aka Momika Mondokuro, taking on Miku. Hiroto Ichimura taking on Teparev Jojim. and Jin Mondokuro taking on Yu Hiramatsu. And yes, Jin and Momoka are cousins.
Cousins.
And Momoka's coming off that loss of Panchan Reina. So this seems like a thank you for losing to Panchan Reina. We're gonna give you an easy fight now type of fight. But CJ, quick thoughts on any of these kickboxing matches?
Only thoughts I have are on the Momoka fight, in that when they announced Trigger, they said that the purpose of it was kind of for veterans to fight younger fighters. And this seems like one of the fights on that card that fits that mold, because Momoka has over 40 fights, and I think Miku has 5. So it's kind of an interesting disparity. It'll be interesting to see what happens when you have such a large experience disparity going on. I think they're actually relatively close to each other's actual age, but Momoka just has a massive experience advantage going into this fight. And I think that Miku is probably considered good looking by most people, so that's probably why she's showing up on this card. So it'll be interesting to see what happens, because my wife and her friends aren't the biggest Panchan Rina fans, so they're secretly happy that Momoka is getting her second fight before Panchan is. And
Got it.
I think Momoka and her cousin are pretty popular in Osaka, so I mean, I know that they both sell good tickets, so I bet they'll have a lot of fans there too.
I should also mention that we have a few of these kickboxers are from the infamous existent / non-existent Deep Kick Federation.
I do want to mention that Miku's Instagram says that she's ranked number 5 in Minerva. And I know that you love Minerva because Minerva produced your favorite female kickboxer of all time, Sasori. And
yes.
So yeah.
I am so sorry, CJ, go ahead.
I know that you're tragically upset that Sasori's retiring.
I know.
And won't be making her Rising debut. But.
I hope it's a gimmick retirement. I hope it's not actually, she's just like doing that to like, and then she's gonna like, she'll make a surprise appearance at Rizin and announce that she's with Bonsai Gym or something. That she's going to MMA full time.
She's gonna pull a Mio and just say that she's retiring from shoot boxing and then appear in K1 a year later.
Yeah, or maybe a Reina where she says she's gonna retire and then comes back every time.
She's been retiring for 10 years. It's a slow process. It's a slow process.
CJ, do you know why some of these kickboxers put the heart emoji as in their name?
Fight names are big in Japan. They like privacy, and just fight names are kind of somewhat in the culture. I always point to that, like before MySpace in Japan was this thing called Mixi, and nobody used their real name and nobody used their actual picture because they didn't want their employers to be able to find them. And so a lot of secrecy, but I think people just like having fun ring names. I mean, I know in Deep Jewels, Otoa Nagao just goes by, changed her name to Otoa, and like Mizuki Inoue became like Mizuki and Ren. So I think they like to play around with it.
But like when you have to write, so I know when you have to write Nori's name, you have to do in that weird Norwegian font. If you have to cover somebody who's like Erica,
drives me crazy.
Hart, do you have to
copy and paste it?
You have to actually write Erica Hart every time. So Erica Hart said, Erica Hart's from wherever, or Fujimon Hart is from wherever. You have to actually put in the heart emoji every time you write that shit.
What I'd probably do is if I was interviewing them, like I interviewed Satomi Takano, who's the new Shuto champion, and everyone calls her Sadami in Japan. And I just asked them, I'm like, what do you want me to refer you to as in this article? And she said, just call me Satomi Takano. So if Erika like really wanted me to put a heart by her name, I would do it. But my gut instinct would be not to.
So just to also clarify as well. So Momoka goes, even though she's listed on Tapology as Momoka Mondoko, she only goes by Momoka. I have no idea why that she doesn't go by the, I guess the famous family kickboxing name. And Miku goes by Mirai on Tapology. So it's a weird, oh my God. It's the names
There's a long history of this. It's a lot. I mean, Hidoko Yamanaka, that wasn't her real name. The girl that fought Chris Cyborg in Strike Force. So a lot of these girls, there's like a long history of using fake names. And
of course, you have Teparav Joe Jim. God only knows what his full kickboxing name is. Luckily, we don't have it here, and I wouldn't even dare try to pronounce it.
One of the worst things I've ever had to do is try to translate Thai names from Japanese. It's like, this is never going to work.
You remember the guy that Tension fought last year, the Thai guy, and there was no consensus on what his name actually translated to, because it was like you couldn't find anything from him in Japanese. You couldn't find Thai. Thai is
impossible. Yeah.
It's like, I can kind of look at katakana kanji and kind of figure out certain words or what the sounds are, but like trying to translate that into it's like I get like the error file not found when my computer like tried to like do that.
When their last name is just their gym name too, it like makes it almost impossible to distinguish them from anyone else that fights.
Especially when 20 other fighters come from this. If it's like so and so Muay Thai gym, it's like, you just
your last name's Fairtex. I'm never going to find out who you are, am I?
Hello, Stamp Fairtex. And I think there's a few are there a few Stamp Fairtex anyway as well? Because Stamp's a popular female kickboxer name.
I know that's not her real name either. Like Loma's the name isn't Loma. So it's kind of an interesting game.
Jay, any thoughts on the kickboxing matches?
Oh, I'm looking forward to him because the J kick usually always brings it. And then there's that hot girl fight that's probably the kickboxing main, or the J kick main, I should say. That's one I'm looking forward to the most out of all the kickboxing fights. And like you were saying, we're not really kickboxing guys, but we definitely enjoy it and watch it on the card. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. And it works in one. They have kickboxing in the cage, right? So I mean, I don't see. I think it's going to be fun.
Yeah,
I can't wait. Actually.
One does that for the Bellator / Rizin, whatever. Ashita and Ren Hermoto had that kickboxing match as well.
It'll probably infuriate J kick purists, but MMA fans will like it.
Oh no, I definitely know that. Like the great people at Beyond Kickboxing, I love those guys. They're always an interesting bunch of people to talk to. I don't think they're as happy for the cage, and I'm just curious to know as well how the kickboxers will react, because a lot of kickboxing is done in rings anyway. So it'll be interesting to see how they kind of adapt, because they a lot of times they use the rope to their advantages. Kind of like lean back against ropes to absorb a few punches. You can't really do that against a cage. If you get punched and you get punched in the head, and your head hits the back of the cage, that's not good. You can't really.
I'd also like to see Rizin do what Rise is doing and get smaller gloves, because Rise is trying to increase the knockout rates, and when you have 44 kg girls going at it, you need to give them some smaller gloves.
Oh yeah. Well, I guess Chris, if you're still there, are there any thoughts on the kickboxing matches?
No, he's babysitting. His mic's off.
Well, if he comes back, I'll ask him. I guess the other big question I have for you, CJ, is Momika's. I know this is probably they want her to win this because because she's also on a losing streak though. What do you think happens if she doesn't win this? Does she get another shot at Rise and trigger the seconds?
I think if she wants to stay in Rising, she needs to win. But I don't think from the interviews I've read and when we spoke to her, I don't think she necessarily considers Rising her main gig. I think she's more into Rise. And but she's also expressed, she's like, oh, I'd love to give MMA a try. So I mean, I think she's down for anything. And when you have over 40 fights, I think you have your occasional losing skid, then you just get back on the horse and start winning again.
I just want to also point out, wait, did you talk to Momoka before? I think it was her last Rise fight, right? Or did you talk
before her debut? Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay. I just want to also point out, if you want to see a great article on Reina, I recommend your 2-part piece that you did on her. Is very good. Very, very good. I love it.
It was fantastic, CJ. Good
stuff.
stuff.
A lot of what's that application called Time Machine to find no longer existent articles. Thank you. I enjoyed writing it.
Yeah, no problem. Now we're going to get into the Pride rules, the superior rule set, as Rise's biggest fan, JayWolf said.
Well, it's not even Pride rules, because were elbows allowed in Pride?
No. This is a superior rule set. This is beyond Pride. This is actual full contact. This is so much fun. I keep trying to tell people, dude, we are entering a new golden era. This is incredible. I mean, this past couple of weeks of action across the world has just been phenomenal, and it's just going to keep rolling. I don't know if you guys seen Daniel, the Polish guy's one of his tweets where he was talking about how on New Year's Eve, they're gonna they're gonna have like 20 something fights. International fans are back, all kinds of cool stuff.
Good luck with that. 20 fights, CJ. If you see that Saitama Super Arena has 20 fights starting at like noon, what are you gonna do? Are you gonna be like, nope, I'm just gonna stay home and watch the Mikuru fights on Fuji?
I will say I did go to the Genki Deska. That was probably the longest event I've ever been to. It had like hour-long wrestling matches in it with like Josh Barnett and people like that. And I'm not the biggest pro wrestling fan, so like an hour-long wrestling match to me was just absolutely brutal. But I'll definitely go. I mean,
heck yeah, dude! That's a show not to be missed. If you're in Japan, CJ, man, I would kill to be there with you to be able to go with you to that event, man. This is going to do 20 fights. That's incredible. I cannot wait. You said they're going to start at noon and go to midnight?
I would rather they do the old 2-day, the 3-day event where they have the first day, then they have the fan event, and then they have the third day.
I think so.
I would like when they did that.
There's a boxing fight with a Triple G. I apologize. Murata. And I think that's on the 29th, I think it is. Yeah. So I'm guessing they don't want to go up against that.
Absolutely. Of course they do not. That's
maybe he wants to do like the 30th and 31st.
Oh.
Sorry, go ahead.
Rising's involved in that event.
They are?
Yeah.
I didn't.
Yeah, because they have the rights to the arena. So it's kind of like, oh, you want to hold a fight at Saitama Super Arena? Interesting.
Interesting. So we're gonna see Triple G like make a play to fight Mikuru or something, or are we gonna see like some weird shit go on? You think?
No, I just think Rising's gonna collect a paycheck and be like, hey, that's why we.
Hey, listen, I think
that's right.
I think New Japan is the same thing with the Tokyo Dome. I think they have like some sort of like exclusivity with it as well. So hey,
I think Shu said that if you book an event, you get the rights of first refusal for the next year.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's why back in the day, if you remember, Deep held at a New Year's Eve event, and that was because Sakakibara wanted them to keep it open for Rising's first year.
Gotcha. Oh, okay. Gotcha. Oh, okay. That's interesting. That's really interesting. By the way, as well, just want to plug your podcast review. Let's talk JMA with Shu Hirata. Always interesting, especially whenever Ring Nakai is in the news.
Seems to be quite often. She's a polarizing figure.
I should say Ring Nakai and husband.
They're not officially married. They have many blog posts about how they're just platonic.
Oh yeah. Well, that's so weird. That's so weird. That's really gross.
Hey, Drew, what was Daniel's last name? It's like
I can't pronounce. It's a Polish name. I think it's pronounced.
He does a lot of commentary work. He's their one championship commentator in Poland.
Yeah, I want to make sure I give him a shout out because that tweet that we were talking about that he did with where he's talking about 20 fights for New Year's Eve and international fighters being allowed and everything. So that was Daniel's tweet. So
I just want to quickly read from the chat. Michael Collins. I'm assuming this is not the guy who went to space. Michael Collins. Part of the three with Neil Armstrong and
it's Daniel Zubek. I think it's Daniel Zubicki.
There it is. Yes. That's him.
He says in the U.S., ring names are pro wrestling only. In Japanese, MMA, kickboxing, boxing, ring names are mandatory. And he also agrees with you, Charles. 4-ounce boxing gloves for the women. And Jamie GM says Jin's Mendokro's bout should be one to watch. And Michael Collins also says, who knows? Maybe Rise will do a 9 a.m. show on the 31st. Again.
I think by kickboxing standard, by Japan kickboxing standards, Jin is the most popular kickboxer probably on the card, right?
Probably, yeah. He's no cozy. You know, I don't know if he's hanging out with the groupies after.
Just work on that headbutt. He's just holding a punching bag and headbutting it repeatedly.
Well, let's talk about the first MMA fight, and we want to talk about lucky or unlucky, depending on, I guess, your perspective, with Keiji Kato to making his return to Rizin, taking on the pro debuting Smoker Jim's. I guess, potential prospect, Katsuya Fujiwara. Kato he's been his last win in Rizin was the knockout of Erasan Yamamoto, and Fujiwara, well, making his pro debut. So CJ, do we have another Tanner Lorenzo on the possibility, or is this or is Fujiwara gonna continue the Smoker Jim's unlucky streak?
My recollection is from what I remember from especially the post-fight reaction wasn't Kenji Kato brought in to lose to Ersan Yamamoto?
Yes, he was. He absolutely
and Sakakibara was absolutely furious that Ersan lost. He was like, didn't he say like, "Are you even training? Like, what are you even doing?"
Because I remember that fight because I think that was the same one that Miyu was also on. I think Miyu and was it Hamazaki? Was it Miyu and Hamazaki?
No, it would have been that. I think that wasn't that.
Oh no, I think it was it the rematch of Andy Nguyen? Maybe
that'd make more sense. But I thought they were on the same card when Ersan knocked the guy out with the elbow.
Oh, well, that may have been the Andy Nguyen one. I think that was the Andy Nguyen one, I believe.
And this one was one where he came and the quarantine was in full effect. And Ersan, I think, had to essentially train with his grandfather by himself. But I mean, he looked absolutely awful. And I just remember Rizin. All I remember about it is that Rizin was so furious that he lost.
Also, you gotta remember. So he also tried to stand and bang with a guy who knocks people out.
Well, and he had zero head movement, and he was tough, but I mean, he just can't take those shots. But I bring that up because it kind of tells me what Rizin thinks about Kenji Kato, is they were just bringing him in to build up Ersan. And so I think they're just trying to, it's a win-win for them. If Kenji wins, they have a guy that beat Ersan, who is now 2-1 in Rizin. And if Fujiwara wins, they have a guy from a popular gym who's now got a win in the promotion. And maybe he'd be a good contender for another Trigger show. Maybe not the main stage yet, but they're building some talent.
So you can actually find some of Fujiwara's fights on YouTube. They're amateur fights.
Oh, from like Crossover 7 and all that.
Yeah, like Crossover 7. Like I think it's like single cam. I don't like. There's no camera cuts, and Fujiwara is in his corner, by the way. Very easily identifiable gentleman. There's one fight that he did win, and it was like a complete boring fight. He won that one, and then there's
some smokers. He's probably just like a brawler.
Yeah, and there's a second fight where he tried that in like the first 15 seconds and he got knocked out, like knocked out cold. Not like hurt TKO. He was just like boom out.
Yeah. Maybe if that's the case, perfect opening fight. You have two guys that are just going to swing and bang, and one of them is going to go down.
What do you think? Jay? Do you think this is do you think Fujiwara will have as much success as Lorenzo in his debut, or is Kato going to absorb another potential Rizin hopeful? Maybe he'll be the Rizin prospect killer if he wins this match.
That'd be cool. I like what CJ was saying about how it's a win-win either way, whoever wins. I mean, this is a historical bout because it's going to be the first one in the Rizin cage. And this, like I was saying, this is the first time that I can recall where this badass of a rule set, the superior rule set, actual full contact is going to be in the cage. This is the first mixed martial arts bout where it's in the cage under the superior rule set of Epic Rizin. So, I mean, it's just, I'm so excited. I can't wait to see which one of these guys is going to, like CJ was saying, how the win-win scenario. I mean, I just want to see a good fight. I'm not really rooting for one or the other, but it's going to be cool either way. And you know what? I was actually wanting to ask you, Andrew, because I remember you were saying that you're not too big of a fan of the cage. And I was wondering if we could also get into the pros and cons or debate a little bit about the cage, because I am definitely, you can tell I'm pro cage, and I love this. This is like Sakakibara and gravy on his Rizin turkey. You know what I mean? This is his gravy bonus event. And just like the Landmark, CJ said that Landmark scored 80,000 buys. That was only 4 fights on the Landmark card. 80,000 buys. That's good, man.
It also had Mikuru on it. It had
Plus,
Mikuru,
it sold those VIP seats for like thousands of dollars for the limited seating.
See, I mean, dude, all this doom and gloom talk that we're seeing, you know, people, it's because they're not taking into consideration that we're still dealing with the COVID stuff, right? And New Year's Eve is finally that's when it's all, you know, finished, and we don't have to deal with it no more. Their international fans are back. I think Daniel's tweet said they were going to be at 100% capacity as well, so it'd be a full house, sold out, and everything. Before they were
as of now,
with,
but listen, that can just change. Listen, feels like every week that Tokyo's in a state of emergency, that can just change.
Well,
like,
all right, well. So far, it's good news is that's when it's open. It was New Year's Eve. That's when all the cool stuff, all the COVID crap is done. But before that, that's what they were dealing with. And this was like an ingenious thing by Sakaki Barasan for Landmark and now Trigger. This is both like just bonus like gravy events for them. And if he's already scored 80,000 buys on Unix for the Landmark series that we haven't even got to see yet. I mean, this is
and you could have gotten more if Unix didn't have a weird international blacklist of credit cards.
I saw a tweet, Daniel tweet again, great reporter. That's one I keep giving a shout out. He's talking about how they're trying to make a deal with Live Now to give us access to the Landmark events as well. So that's even more revenue right there for the Epic Rizin and Sakaki Barasan. I mean, I am loving this. This is, I mean, all these doom and gloom people that are trying to say oh, Dream, they did the cage and they felt, you know what? Dream did not have soccer kicks, stomps, elbows. They did not have the superior rule set in the cage. The action is going to be just through the roof. It's going to be action packed. Look at how action packed Epic Rizin 32 just was last weekend. The fighters are getting acclimated to the superior rule set. Okay. And now we're going to see it in the cage. This is I'm trying to tell you guys. I'm so excited. This is awesome.
Sorry, Jay. I know you like to say a lot. I don't mean to interrupt you, but I just want to quickly just say the only reason why I'm not too happy with the cage is because, well, from an audience perspective, there's been too many times where you can't see shit through a cage. And maybe the one time where if you're higher up, it's better with a cage.
Well, okay. Well, that's on the TV, it looks the same. I mean, obviously the cage in the ring, but I mean, it doesn't obstruct the view for the television audience. So
I'll also tell you this, a ring is cooler. That's just what it comes. I think aesthetically it's fucking cooler to see a ring.
Oh, ring! Of course, a ring's awesome, but they're still doing the ring events. They have 2 ring events: the Landmark and their big number series. So, I mean, what's wrong with having this other little bonus side gravy event? You know what I mean? This is like the gravy event that you pour on your mashed potatoes and turkey for Thanksgiving. This is like an early Christmas.
Hold on a second.
Present,
CJ, did you want to say something? Yeah, feel free to come in if you have thoughts.
No, I feel like my general thought might be the same as Andrew's, which is I prefer the ring over the cage, but I have no issue with them having this offshoot event that uses a cage. But I mean, I just remember back in the day where in the UFC, there was like a legitimate idea that a good strategy was to hold your opponent against the cage and try to tire them out for 3 rounds and then finish them in the championship rounds. I think I'm getting images of BJ Penn, Kenny Florian, just like nightmares in my head. Never want to see that type of fight again. And
don't worry about that.
Just killed cages for me.
I don't want us to go too much on this, but when it comes down to it, one of the reasons why I became a big fan of Rizin, I know it may sound really stupid and weird, but like the fact that they're a major MMA promotion, they use a ring compared, that UFC uses cage, Bellator uses a cage. It felt good. It felt like it stood out. There's also just something cooler when you see 2 guys standing across from each other in a ring. There's just something that's just like, I don't know what. It's so much cooler. You see the red corner. You see the white. Sorry, CJ, go ahead.
It's gonna sound stupid. I like corners.
Yeah, you got your red, your Aka corner, your blue corner, and there's just something, there's just something that's really cool about a ring. I don't know. I'm not, again, it's not, I don't hate it. I'm not like, oh my God, Rizin's dead to me. They're going to be like Dream. I think, I think that's like, I don't know where people why they jump to such severe conclusions.
Dude,
Dream had its own problems and Sakakibara wasn't involved in Dream.
Yeah, he couldn't be involved in it. He was legally not allowed to do any sort of MMA after the prize buyout.
Exactly. And they did not have the superior rule set. I'm telling you.
But I'll tell you this,
Dude.
what I'm very interested in seeing is how the kickboxers adjust to it, because kickboxers are 99% more training for a ring. It's really interesting to see how they adapt to it. We've seen it kind of like the Muay Thai and kickboxing fights that one has, but I'm
they do fine.
Andrew, you and I know the answer is that none of these kickboxers have practiced in a cage.
I know.
It's going to be like either no effect or a shit show.
Well, yeah, because normally when they tie up in the cage, that's an advantage. That's a type of that is considered like you might want to like put your opponent against the ropes to tire them out or something, or is that they can't punch you. I'm just curious to know like how like it's gonna be with the cage. I like what Jamie GM says. Prefer some moats. Maybe that's what. Okay. So we got Rise of Landmark, Rise of Trigger. How about like Rizin? I don't know. Headshot.
Rizin.
If it's
there you go.
Omigawa back, because Omigawa was the king of moat fighting. Heck
yeah, dude. I love that idea. I hope Sakaki Barasan is listening and does another bonus event.
Maybe Shingo will translate for him to do a moat fight for their next.
Yeah, yes, I love it.
Chris, if you're there, any thoughts on Kato and Fujiwara? Okay.
I don't think he's around. Yeah.
Okay.
No, remember he has to deal with babysitting right now, guys. It's probably not going to be. It's probably just going to be us three for the show.
Okay.
I think if he wants to talk, he'll probably turn his camera back on.
Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha. Actually, so yeah. Listen, I think we can all agree someone's going to get knocked out in this fight. Is that the
violently
the prevailing consensus?
That's what Rising wants. I mean,
yes.
Yeah, that's why they put him in. That's why they put him there.
I don't know. I just thought the stupidest thing. So, listen. So I just thought, like, let's just say somebody goes for a soccer kick, and then the guy gets out of the way, and they wind up kicking the fence, and their foot breaks. Just like something so stupid. Or like their foot gets caught. Like, I think it was Ellenberger.
That happened in a UFC fight where a guy broke his ankle.
I think did it Ellenberger like?
Yeah, that was him.
Yes.
Ellenberger broke his ankle on the cage.
I want to see something so stupid. Like I want to see there has to be like some sort of thing where like a fire breaks his foot or like gets his foot caught in the cage and like
freaking Andrew's always wanted to see the crazy chaos stuff happen.
I just want to see something like that happen. Oh, and Code May Day brings up a good point. Keisuke Okuda, who we'll talk about later, is 3-0 in both fights, so he might have the first advantage in an MMA fight if it does happen.
I want the dream fishnet cage that has like way too much give, and it's probably extremely painful.
Yeah, Jamie GM says if it looks something like the dream cage, he's fine with it.
Yeah, the white cage is better for the blood.
Well, here's the thing. You know how they have like the lights, the lights, and kind of like how the ropes kind of like light up or whatever. Sometimes for the riser shows, they should have something like that for the cage. Like when somebody gets like pushed up against the cage just starts lighting up, or something stupid. Actually, just
fireworks.
Yeah, like an Onita exploding match. Every time somebody hits the cage, the ring explodes and the opponents get electrocuted. CJ, they are using the deep cage, I think, right? I think you mentioned that, or you heard something that they're probably going to be using it.
I didn't say that. I think didn't they say they were building their own cage?
I thought they were borrowing deeps. I apologize. I thought it was you who said that, or somebody else said that they might be using the deep
someone
cage.
else that said that, but I mean, if that's the case, I mean, I don't know if they're planning to keep using cages. I don't know why they wouldn't just have their own.
I figured they would borrow one first, maybe from like deep, because deep they've had so many fighters from deep. I was wondering like there's like a trade-off. Hey, we'll take a bunch of your fighters if we can borrow your cage, so we don't have to build our own. Type thing.
I don't think so. I think they're probably going to build their own cage because plus, I mean, transporting the deep cage all the way down to Osaka probably sounds about just as expensive as building your own cage.
Okay. Oh, interesting. Okay. We're going to talk about
I think the deep cage is just like absolutely covered in sponsors, like a NASCAR. I'm
actually curious to know how they're going to do the sponsors for this, because they're normally on the whatever the corners. I'm curious to know how if they're going to like have like a big corner thing or something for like the red corner and the blue corner.
Like it's also interesting. What shape is this cage going to be? And we don't know yet.
Yep.
Jamie says use Cage Force's teeny cage. I swear to God, this cage looks like a little teeny box. I think I might just be like, okay, Rizin should just do tiny box cages.
Was it Poland that had that event where they built like a 9 by 9 foot cage in the middle of a cage?
Yeah, it was like a phone booth cage.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what? Actually,
Future.
if any of you remember the war games or the war games WCW things where they would have like 3 rings, maybe it should be 3 cages and they're all connected. So that way, like if somebody tries to like push the other person against the cage, they'll just go into another cage to prevent that.
What would make me so incredibly happy is if they just like went like a real 1980s Jean-Claude Van Damme angle and like had the fight like in a empty swimming pool or like had it like in a racquetball court, just like had it one of those obscure like Lionheart locations. That'd make me insanely happy.
That'd be awesome, but they can't do it on concrete. Like the bottom of the pool would be too
Oh
hard.
God, no! If anybody,
international waters.
Okay. So that's enough cage talk. I think we're all supportive of it. We'll see how it's done. If it's a shit show, we'll have a good laugh. I think
it's not going to be a shit show. It's going to be awesome. I mean, it's really going to be awesome. I cannot wait. Even though it's not stacked with like star power or whatever criticisms people have. It's going to be awesome, and it's going to be not to miss. I'm telling you guys, this is historic, and people that I pity the ones that are going to miss out on this that didn't get the bundle. I mean, look at the show last week in Rizin 32. These fighters are getting more and more acclimated to the superior rule set every single event. And now it's going to be in the cage. Now there's going to be no restarts. It's going to be, it's going to be fantastic. What if it's the white dream cage, like you guys are saying? And now if they just let them bleed so they don't stop the action when they start bleeding, they're going to be able to bleed on the white cage and decorate a white cage with blood. It's just going to be so much fun, bro. I can't wait.
About the bleeding is I think Rizin has a much more casual fan base than say like the UFC does, where I think there's like it's a lot more diverse. And I do think there are a lot of fans of Rizin that don't like the bleeding. I remember last week I was watching it and a lot of them were like, oh, they're bleeding too much. Because if you go to a Rizin show, there's a lot of women in the crowd. And really? I think, it's a lot way more like diverse than like a UFC event.
Same thing with pro wrestling there. A lot more women who go to pro wrestling shows.
A lot of women and a lot of kids. And they also have that Fuji TV thing. And they also don't have athletic commissions. So, but I think that might be why you see them more prone to stopping the cuts.
I just don't like how they stop the action for it. I mean, that's like a terrible way to stop the action just for a little bit of blood. I mean, look at how they bleed all over the place in the UFC, and it's awesome. I mean, they let them bleed in Bellator too, and it's awesome. They used to let them bleed, I thought, in Pride, if I remember correctly. They hardly ever stop it.
The worst example, I think, was Aoki versus Kitaoka in Dream. I think Kitaoka was bleeding like a stuck pig. You could like actually hear him choking on it. He's like gurgling. It's like one of the weirdest fights I've ever seen.
My favorite, I guess, blood-ish involvement in MMA. It's a little known one. Was when Damian Maia caused what the fuck's his name? He did like a choke on him, and the choke was so tight he started bleeding from his nose.
Oh, I remember that. It was a neck crank.
Yeah.
The blood shot out his nose.
Oh, who the fuck was it?
That wasn't Matt Brown. It was during that streak he had. There was a streak where Damian Maia took like 1 punch in 4 fights. And it was during that streak. I remember that. That was terrifying because the blood shot right out his nose.
And actually, Michael Collins has a good point. Blood stuff is mainly do with when they are on Fuji. No Fuji equals blood is fine. On Fuji equals blood is a problem. That's true.
Remember the old UFC on Fox where they were literally spray painting the cage between fights?
Thank you, Code Mayday. Maia versus Rick Story. That's the fight. That's a fight.
Rick Story was his name. That's right.
But yeah, that's true. If you remember the Crow Cop Rocky Martinez fight, I think they aired that on Fuji TV, and Rocky Martinez had a little teeny cut above his eyebrow, like little teeny, like I don't think he was even bleeding, and they stopped the fight immediately due to doctor stoppage. And it was really like one of the most, maybe the most bullshit stoppage in Rizin's history.
Yeah, it's terrible. They need to fix that. Allow some blood. Just a little bit more blood. I guess I didn't realize they had to deal with Fuji TV stuff like that. But
also, I think here's the other thing as well. I'm sorry to interrupt you, Jay, but I think another issue is that if somebody bleeds a lot, they have to clean up that ring. And I don't know if there's like a time thing or whatever issue. Like when you watch Deep CJ, somebody bleeds, they leave it on the ground. I'll watch like fights out of order, and I'll just see like a gigantic dry blood puddle, and I'm like, oh yeah, they they don't give a shit. They're not on on TV time.
And
So,
it looks awesome, right? And it looks freaking awesome. And especially on the Epic Rising rings, it's a white mat, just like it was in the Almighty Pride days. And look at when Bellator, when they have a white mat as well. When there's blood on there,
especially Bellator,
real nice.
Especially Bellator never. They, in fact, I think they even they love it when the fighters fight on the dry blood. I think they
because it looks
Scott Coker
awesome,
slipping them a razor blade. He's like cut yourself between rounds.
It looks awesome, and it doesn't stop the action. To take care of the cut, and that would be to do that. Allow a little bit more blood in Rizin and 5-round title fights and main events. I'm tired of them not having 5-round fights, bro. They need to.
That's an entirely different situation. I don't know what's up with that. That's like
spoiled. You got to go to deep where they have 2-round fights.
Yes, and soccer kicks sometimes, and sometimes no soccer kicks. I can never tell the difference when until somebody lands one, or unless they do land one, they get disqualified. I was like, oh, okay, so yeah, they weren't supposed to kick each other on the ground.
You got to keep you on your toes, Andrew.
Oh, literally.
We don't have to worry
fight
about
on this card has a different rule set.
Actually, Michael Collins also, it was on top of Rocky's head, and he also agrees it was a bad stoppage. Yeah, I remember now. It wasn't even above the eyebrow. It was like somewhere like on the forehead.
Yeah, I know that. I just know that the casual Japanese fan base doesn't like blood.
Which is funny. You think they would because red's considered a lucky color in Japanese. Little joke.
No, it's not. It's the color of death. It's what you sign on funeral letters.
I thought you give. I thought you're supposed to wrap gifts in red. I thought, and then you hand it to somebody. I thought red is supposed to be.
Is red the lucky color in Japan?
I thought it was. I thought you were supposed to wrap gifts in red.
Omiyage, akanamono wrapping. My wife agrees it's a lucky color.
Thank you, Mrs. Jewett. Thank you, Jewett-san.
He says thank you.
Arigatou gozaimasu, Jewett-san. But sorry to cut off the cage, blood, all that good shit talk. We have to continue on this.
Before we get started, can I just randomly say that Rising has been trying to find new talent?
Yes.
And
yes,
it's working. Because did you see the Oshima fight is almost at 2 million views now on YouTube?
Really? That's great news.
That's great. Listen, I hope Oshima, I hope she milks it. And it's funny having 2 kids.
Yeah, I'm like, the mother of 2. You're saying she hopes she milks it.
Yeah, I hope she milks it for all it's worth, and I hope we see her again on a Rizin show. I don't want to see her go away from deep, but God, if there's anybody who I hope breaks out 2022, I hope it's Sayori Oshima. I really hope so, and I want to see. We're
going to her gym to interview her next week.
Oh, nice.
And
nice.
We're interviewing Seika Izawa today, who's probably going to be in Rising as well.
Nice.
Yes. That's a
good, CJ.
Malcolm Collins says writing your name in red is bad. So apparently it's an unlucky color and a lucky color at the same time.
Well, I just know that when they write letters, if it's like a funeral letter, they write it in red.
Okay, so that's probably what it is. When it's about death, it's not unlucky, so it's okay to do it. But you're writing a letter to your boss, don't write it in red. Yeah. By the way, as well, if you see, we got a red card thing as well. So maybe that's an ominous sign for some of these fighters as well. But let's continue on, gentlemen. Makoto Kamiya taking on Daiki Lightyear, also his real name, Daiki Subata. Anybody have any thoughts on this bantamweight match? We got Kamiya 29-16-4 taking on Lightyear 9-8-3. I think Kamiya's been on some deep shows, if I'm correct, right, CJ?
Kamiya?
Yeah, I think I have him there. He lost to Shoji, actually.
Yeah, he's done a bunch of deep shows.
He's lost to Shoji. He's lost to Matoya. He's beat Dark Shirakawa.
Your favorite fighter.
Oh yes. Well now he's my favorite because of that brutal. Oh, he's lost to Otsuka. No surprise there. Everybody's fought Otsuka at this point. That's kind of like the basic of his thing. And sorry, who's was that you, CJ?
What is it? Kamiyama. What is it? Kamiya? Sorry, Kamiya is essentially what? He's on like a 2-fight losing streak. His last fight's a no contest just because his opponent missed weight.
Yes.
But the guy choked him unconscious, then no contest. So he seems kind of like a random addition to the card until you scroll up. Oh,
yep.
38-year-old, born in Kyoto. Oh, there we go. That's
but he's fighting out of Shibuya. I don't think he makes the trip from Kyoto to Shibuya. Maybe
I feel like this is the one championship style billing where it's going to be like that Shibuya is not going to be mentioned for this event. You are a Kyoto resident.
Also it should be mentioned also.
Oh my God, his gym name is Honey Trap. All right.
And he's apparently the head instructor as well. I'm looking at it right now. It lists him as the head instructor of the Honey Trap. He's also been fighting since, get this, 2005. So he was fighting when Deep was still in double digits.
Are you looking at this page? Are you seeing who the other labeled instructors are? It's like, I didn't realize Kid Yamamoto was still teaching.
Oh yeah. I think Tapology is a little bit. I think Tapology's JMMA needs to be a little bit more taken care of. But and also Keto Loke is there, which is like so outdated because he has his own gym, the Lotus Gym.
Yeah, Lotus.
Ari, even Ari has the Ari gym.
So what? He's 38. He's clearly the veterans that they're talking about putting on these cards. He's from Kyoto, and so it kind of highlights the beauty of Trigger. Or what I think Trigger is supposed to be.
CJ, the issue is that Lightyear, he is from Kobe.
Yes.
So he is the direct hometown hero. Kamiya is the betrayer. He goes to Shibuya to train. He said that Kansai, nah, I'm moving. I'm training somewhere else. Kobe,
if you're thinking, who's Rizin want to win? Do they want the 38-year-old guy coming off essentially two losses, or the 33-year-old guy coming off some wins to win?
But I don't know. 98 and 3
fairly local.
Let's see. Well, here's the thing. Most of oh boy, I'm looking. So a lot of Lightyear's losses has come through being choked out, and it looks like Kamiya wins a lot of times by choking people. So I can only just surmise through MMA math that for some reason Rizin wants Kamiya to win.
Really interesting.
I'm
gonna be more of a pessimist and say that they wanted to sell some tickets. They put some local boys on the card and are hoping it does some good action.
How about you, Jay?
Oh, I love what CJ said right there. I'm on board 100%. I hope for some good action as well between the veterans. I mean, this we'll see what happens. I mean, they're bantamweights, so you know the lightweight guys always bring the action, endless gas tank. So we'll see what happens. But you know, I don't really know who to pick though. I think I'll go with you guys said that Subota is the hometown guy, right?
Yeah, Lightyear. Also, he goes by his nickname Lightyear.
Oh, okay. So Lightyear's the hometown guy. So I'll go with him and say he's going to get the W. He's going to be energized by the crowd. Is the crowd at full capacity, or is it still at 50% capacity, or is it above 50% capacity?
They're not at full capacity yet. I think it's going to take a big event for them to try to break away from that, just because it'll really receive attention.
Well, they said New Year's Eve is supposed to be at 100% capacity, according to Daniel's tweet. So
I think they're waiting to do it for New Year's because Corona numbers have been low in Japan. I think they're trying to keep it that way.
Well, we have a new strain, so who the fuck knows what's going to happen like by next week?
Oh, don't even put that out in the world. No,
I don't need to put it out in the world. It's already out in the world.
It's just going to be awesome.
Okay. I like to be the I don't know. You said you're going to be the pessimist, CJ. Yep. I'm going to be the optimist. I'm going to say age before hometown. I'm going to pick Kamiya. I think
age before home cooking.
Home cooking.
You just coined a new expression.
Yeah. I swear. Well, here's the thing. If Lightyear loses by choke, I think we know why this fight was made to happen. Yeah. And listen, Rizin needs, they do want veterans on their show, whether to win or lose. Maybe they'll lose on the big shows, but they'll win on the smaller shows, because you can't have a loser on every show, or else people are gonna be kind of like, Why are we watching? Well, I don't know. Well, actually, I take that back. Well, the next fight I think we can talk about when it comes to losers because when it comes to losing in MMA, I guess Keisuke Okuda's on quite the streak. 0-3 taking on Grant Bogdanov from Deep. You saw his fight, CJ, his MMA debut.
Let me check. Yeah, I was there.
Yeah, I think that was the show that also Saint made his debut on. I think
where Saint had that absolutely brutal knockout.
I think Ryo Sakai is still asleep. Because I don't think I've seen him yet. I don't think have they announced is. Oh wait, no, aren't they doing? Isn't Sakai coming back? I thought he was. I thought they announced him, or was there another heavyweight that I'm thinking of?
No, I think he's fine. I think I've seen him around. I've seen him seconding people, so he's not dead. But he might have been announced for a future Deep show. I haven't looked at the fights closely yet.
Anyway, so for this fight, CJ, pro wrestler, taking on a guy who's made his career out of choking people out. What do you think?
Well, the pro wrestler, again, worth noting, from the Kansai region.
And his promotion, his home promotion, Dragon Gate, is a mainly Kobe Kansai promotion. They always do their big show at the same venue that they're doing here. The forgot what the big show is called, but it's at Kobe World Hall. But
yeah, I am definitely going to have to favor the guy that actually won a fight. And appears much. I think what last weekend showed us that super jacked up pro wrestlers aren't the best fighters, even though doesn't Keisuke have like an amateur wrestling background?
Sorry, say again.
Doesn't Keisuke have an amateur wrestling background?
He has an amateur wrestling background. He's also has left way experience. He's also, I think, fought in kickboxing as well. He's also
I will say he performed better than I thought he was going to perform against Suzuki. Like, he didn't get blown out immediately, but I don't know how you could pick him to win.
Jamie says that Kamiya is coming out of retirement for this show.
So it's kind of like a nice highlight for him.
Okay, so he had the show. He had the
Jamie's actually going to this show, so you can.
Oh, Jamie, if you're gonna go to the show, hopefully it's a good show. Hopefully you enjoy it.
It's gonna be awesome.
Michael Collins says that Ryo Sakai is gonna fight in December. That's what I thought as well. I swear I thought I thought I saw Shigeru Saki.
Deep announced a ton of fights.
Oh yeah, I always hate it because they always announce like 10, and I have to go through like Facebook is horrible on mobile.
They announce it via a Facebook page.
Yes,
there's like no official announcements.
And then they post just like the main poster on whichever Twitter, the 1000 Twitter thing. Yeah. I don't even know which one is the correct one at this point. It'll be a new one probably by next month because they'll probably lose the password again.
If you want to get really confused, just wait till they start tweeting from like numerous ones of the same. It's like you're promoting from 3 different Deep Jewels Twitter accounts. Like, what the hell is happening right
now? So we did talk to Grant about this fight. He gave us an exact prediction. He said he's going to finish Okuda in the first round by rear naked choke at 4 minutes and 51 seconds.
Is he another military guy?
I don't think so. I think he was. I think he's someone who came here through like the JET program or like some sort of like international thing. He speaks fluent Japanese. If you go to his the pre-fight interview that he had with Rizin, he's answering the questions in Japanese, and it's like good Japanese. And like it's not like I learned Japanese kind of like by like I think he may have his mom. I think he's also half Japanese. I think his mother's Japanese and his father's Russian.
That helps with the Japanese ability.
So probably I don't know if he grew up with Japanese or he was learning it at a very young level. Because there's thing like Daryl Okoku, who is fluent Japanese, was doing his Rizin thing in English. But Grant's grasp of Japanese is very good. Also, he has his own gym now in Setagaya, Alma Fight Life. Do you think he's going to choke him out, CJ?
He's got to be the favorite in this. I think he's got to be.
Jay, what do you think? We gonna get some pro wrestling craziness in this fight?
I'd love to see it. You know me, I want to see some drop kicks, slams, everything. But I'm definitely rooting for Grant because he's American. I always root for the American fighters. And I mean, that's like CJ was asking if he was military. Just like, you know why? Because last week on Epic Rizin 32, the Gyrene in the Epic Rizin ring, that was a potent mix, wasn't it?
Oh yes. Oh yes. We Hafid Darbaki says his mother is Japanese and his father is American. Okay, I don't know why I said.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, I was wondering about your Russian comment. I'm like, why is he?
The last name sounds Russian. The last name does sound Russian.
We could
like,
probably be ethnically Russian, I guess.
Okay. I mean, like, what's so interesting about this fight? I think, like, do you think that there's any chance that Okuda can win this? I mean, like, here's the thing, like, when it comes to like heavyweights, it's just like a puncher's chance. Like Kitamura, could have gotten a lucky punch and won, but like in this case, like kind of like mid-weight, is there anything, CJ, that you think Okuda can possibly do to win this?
I think he has a better chance of winning than Kitamura did. I mean, once I saw Kitamura in the ring, I was just like, oh, this guy's so big, he can barely move, like, functionally. And he got exhausted within 20 seconds. But so, I mean, Keisuke showed he's got cardio and he can move in his fight with Suzuki. So, I mean, he's an athlete. So I think he always has a chance. But I don't think
it's a puncher's chance. Grant. Do you think a puncher's chance? I mean, I don't expect him to knock.
He has to knock him out. He's not going to win a decision, and he's not going to submit him.
What I'm sure, though, I'm trying to think in a fight like, so this is going to be in a cage, obviously Grant would probably, I guess, try to take him down, submit him that way. You think the cage will have any sort of positive or negative effect on either fighter in this fight?
I've always thought the cages help wrestlers. So if you're trying to get someone down, the cage helps. But the cage also helps you get back up. So there's kind of a two-edged sword.
So, like, if he gets taken down,
I don't think any one of them has trained how to cage walk. So I think all the cage will do is just help someone take someone down.
So what do you think? Michael Collins says that Sakai is facing Kenny. Kenny Okamoto. Oh, I know who Kenny. Oh, okay. Kenny is that I thought he was light heavyweight for some reason. Jay.
Yes.
So what percentage of a chance do you give Okuda winning this fight and becoming 1-3?
I mean, you never know. Grant's only got one fight, he says. So, dude, you never know. Even though he's got 3 losses, dude, you just don't know what can happen. It's a fist fight, and it's under full contact rules. So you don't know what could happen. I mean, what if he gets Grant rocked a little bit and then has the fight IQ to just go straight into soccer kicks and stomp his ass out right away? I mean, he could easily win like that.
It's actually interesting you bring up the soccer kicks. One of Okuda's losses is by illegal DQ soccer kicks.
Oh, well, he better be aware of it then, because he better be aware, because they're not illegal now. So he's got to be aware. And if he's already got a loss by that, he's going to be in there. That's some experience right there of, at least eating a soccer kick, so he knows what to expect from it. So he's going to be on the lookout for that. So, but Grant, you said he's a submission guy. He's going to go for the choke.
He's a black belt in BJJ.
Yeah, so he's probably not going to be looking to strike. He's going to be looking to grapple and strangle him. But and that'll present Okuda with some potential possibilities, because when they're grappling, he's going to have to get him down on the ground first in the grappling to do his Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And when they, if he shoots a sloppy takedown or something, grounded knees are legal in Epic Rizin, okay? And Okuda could easily rock him with the grounded knee. And then, dude, if he has, like I said, if he has a fight IQ after rocking him to throw some soccer kicks and stomps right away, he's going to win. So there's absolutely, Andrew, you asked if there was any way that he could win. Absolutely. I mean, dude, the superior rule set is a game changer, and it puts, like, the unified rules, the UFC, they tend to favor grapplers because they take away strikes from guys on the ground. And also, we were talking about Oshima, her fight a couple Epic Rizins ago. Her fight had some awesome examples of one of a great part of Epic Rizin superior rule set was in her fight, and that was up kicks. All up kicks are also legal in Epic Rizin. So I mean, if Grant gets him down and he's on his back, he could up kick his way out of there. I mean, who knows? But there's all kinds of different scenarios, Drew, where he could, he has a more of a puncher's chance or a soccer kicker's chance, we should say. So it's definitely possible. But we'll see what happens. I mean, I'm going to be rooting for the American because I always root for the American fighters. I love them.
Maybe
So
maybe
we'll see what happens.
The body lock rear naked kicks to the head that Tsunabe was
Yes.
getting from his opponent in the last show.
Heck yeah, we'll see something cool like that. Guaranteed. Guaranteed.
Andrew, I just went over to Sakai's Facebook. Ryo's fighting Mizuno.
Mizuno?
Whoa.
It's a giant gap in weight, isn't it?
Let me see. Mizuno. How much is
Mizuno fought Babalu in one championship.
what?
I think I remember that one. I remember Babalu in one. That was a
wait,
while ago.
Sakai? Sakai's fighting him?
Where are you looking at, CJ?
Oh, I was just looking at the Facebook page
Mizuno
for
fight
Saiki.
Babalu the Brawl in one championship or one fighting championship. He fought Mizuno. I mean, Mizuno and Babalu fought in Dream.
I
Oh,
thought they
is that
also
where it
fought in
was?
one
Okay.
championship. Because I remember Henzo Gracie was doing commentary.
Yeah, Babalu definitely fought in one championship, right? I remember
No,
seeing him. I could
He
have
did
sworn.
not.
Oh, he
Yes,
did
he
not?
did.
Okay, never mind then.
He did. I saw it. Oh my god.
I
It's
mean,
like
you
it's-
might have to do some Google searching, but still, I do know
I remember
that.
it because they were talking
Oh.
about how Babalu had never lost to a Japanese fighter.
Yeah, of course, that's bullshit.
I like how
still.
Michael Collins.
Yeah, it was at
came
one
on-
champ. It
Michael
was one
Collins-
FC4 in 2012.
Yeah, okay.
Michael
so it did
Collins
happen.
says, "Oh crap, it's Mizuno, not Crusher," as he originally thought. So I like that reaction. Oh crap, it's not the guy who I originally thought. It's actually Mizuno. Okay, now deep's interesting. Deep's interesting. Oh, Michael Collins also said Okuda lost to a 38-year-old shoot boxer. I mean, we'll see, but I don't like his chances. And yes, Babalu did fight in one.
That 38-year-old shoot boxer is also completely jacked, though. Like he and Strecker taking all of the supplements.
By the way, I think also Okuda has trained with Shinya Aoki, and I think
Which means either very little or a lot.
probably very little because I'm trying to remember which fight it was. I was watching. I think it was one of the left way fights. For some reason, he had Aoki in his corner for a left way fight. God only knows why. Aoki was like laughing at him or like at whatever was going on. Maybe I like the just absurd rules of the fight or something.
I remember him at a shoot boxing show laughing. So Aoki does seem to laugh at a lot of those people's fights.
Maybe I don't know. I don't know. Aoki's just a weird guy in general. I don't know if you. I hope he was not laughing at his guy getting smashed with headbutts and elbows.
Dude, Aoki's a grappling wizard. So if he's trained with Okuda, he's going to be, passing on some grappling knowledge to him. So,
but
yeah,
Aoki is also a pro wrestler. So, like, what kind of actual training do they do?
And also, listen, there's a big gap in difference. And we saw Mikuru when he trained with the BJJ guy. And I think CJ, we had you on the show talk about that. Like, just because you're training with one of the best guys in Japan does not mean you can accelerate to years of experience that like Kleber has at Bonsai.
Yeah. Flashbacks of Conor McGregor training with a
definitely teach him
wrestler.
technique. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, CJ. Go ahead.
Just flashbacks of Conor McGregor training with a wrestler.
Exactly, yeah. Or Dylan Dennis for his BJJ stuff. It's like that's that's like and Michael Collins says that Mizuno versus Seigo and Sakai versus Okamoto. He says that Deep might be doing a Megaton tournament, which would be absolutely
fun.
amazing. And then,
heck yeah, that's gonna be fun.
And then hopefully the winner, the rightful winner of that, can face the true one and only champion of Megaton, Rocky Martinez, who still has that belt.
Hopefully, we can get one of the greatest things to ever occur in Dream, the Super Hulk Championship, to happen again.
Yes, the Super Hulk Championship.
The best. I love that you said that also, but the best championship belt too, made of cardboard.
So gentlemen, I think we can all agree Bogdanov has this in the can. I don't see Okuda's gonna win this. It would be like, I think I would like maybe have a heart attack if like Okuda actually won. It would be,
I think Okuda would be surprised if he won.
I think, Okuda would be surprised if he himself.
I'm picking Okuda by drop kick.
Well, here's the thing. So since there is no ring, we can't get any like weird Yumika Hota running against the ropes antics or anything.
Hey, we're gonna see some Bendo off the cage flying drop kicks.
Oh God, that'd be fun. I hope something crazy does happen. I hope Okuda does something like really like off the wall bonkers.
Yeah, or some sweet chin music.
And I guess yeah. So Bogdanov, unanimous. He's gonna win this, and he'll definitely be back for a Rizin show. I think down the line. If not, you'll see him on Quintet. He's a Quintet regular. And then Okuda, he'll be back on Dragon Gate, doing Dragon Gate stuff. Next match is a very, I think, interesting matchup because we have a returning guy who's trying to right his loss to Shoji from a few months ago. And we got a guy who's finished all of his fights but one. We got Chihiro Suzuki taking on Sora Yamamoto.
Both
CJ,
are extremely young too.
Oh yeah, that's that too as well.
21 and 22.
Oh, so just a year apart.
Nice. Young guns.
Suzuki also was a kickboxer. Initially, no, he first started MMA, then he went to kickboxing. Now he's back in MMA. So, and Sora
Is he going to bring out his sword again?
He has to. If he does not bring out his sword, you know what he should do? He should bring out his sword and then just cut the cage door. And that's how the cage door falls down. That's how he enters.
I will not hold his last loss against him at all. That was epic and amazing. Just like, we're going to decide who wins this fight in the first 20 seconds.
Jay, I got to tell you this. Hafid Darbaki says he will always say Hulk as well. And he says, shout out to JayWolf for saying the correct pronunciation as well.
Yes. You're the man. Thanks, brother.
But so CJ, what do you think? You think these two are going to have a gentleman's agreement? Okay, we're not going to go to the ground. The only way it goes to the ground is when one of us gets knocked out.
I don't think so because the other guy's got a couple arm bars. So I mean, I think if the other guy's smart, wants to win, he's probably going to try to take it down.
I think it's interesting though that Yamamoto, his last fight was the only fight of his that he's won that didn't go to the decision. Everything else, all 11 of those wins has been a finish, which I think is absolutely insane. Very rare to find something like that. And
a lot of those wins are first round submissions.
Oh yes. Yes. By the way, so this is also something that is very important to talk about. So Sora Yamamoto, he is 1-1 against an interesting fighter. And if you're on his Tapology page, you can see that for PFC, the promotion PFC, he is 1-1 against a fighter named Jason. And if you go to Jason's Tapology page, it is a MMA fighter who is wearing a Jason mask.
Nice.
He's from Japan.
And he fights out of the JKS gym. I'm assuming the J has to be the Jason whatever something gym.
Was it JKS?
JKS gym. They don't have their
Jason
own page.
Killer something. Jason Killer something.
He might be the only one from the JKS gym. Kind of like that guy from the UFC who was like 0-4, was in the Austin Power movie, had like his own gym and like martial arts style.
I mean, kind of think of it. I think JKS can also mean Jason kills somebody.
Yeah,
exactly. There you go. There you go.
Michael Collins says, hello, Suzuki, unanimous decision. You know, that's what happens sometimes, though. A fight like this, you think, oh, yeah, someone's going to get finished in the first round. No, they're going to hug each other for 3 rounds. Kind of like when we saw the Tarker Sekihara match. Oh, 2 guys who are strikers. And then it's like entirely a fight that's on the ground, except for like the last 10 seconds.
Hey, but at least we got yellow cards in Rizin. So
thank you, Hafid. Josan, that was his name. Josan.
Is this the Hafid that works for Rizin?
I believe it might be Hafid from Rizin, who is a guy who I correspond with sometimes with the Rizin press releases and all that stuff. Just want to say also as well, Sora Yamamoto has an amateur win against a guy named Harry. That is his name, Harry. Just want to say that as well. So he has wins over Jason and Harry.
Biggest wins of his career.
Yeah. So what do you think, CJ? Do you think this will be a first round knockout, or are we going to get a 3 round hug it out decision?
No, I do not think. I think Suzuki is going to try as hard as he can to knock him out in the first round. And if Yamamoto's record is accurate, he's going to try to submit him in the first round. So just whoever strikes first.
What do you think, Jay? You know, I remember the Suzuki fight, him and Shoji just kind of like as soon as the bell rang, boom, 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 boom. And then, yes, Suzuki got the knockout. And actually, ironically enough, probably the reason why Shoji's main eventing is probably because of that win that he got on that Rizin show, why he's main eventing this show. So,
Probably is.
What do you think? Do we see Suzuki kind of snap that get back that loss? Or are we going to see, is Yamamoto someone that's going to be around for let me see the division, 66
Featherweight.
That's featherweight. Oh, okay. Yes. No, wait, 66 is featherweight.
That's what it says on
bad.
Tapology. Says
Oh,
featherweight.
okay. Do we get to see Sora Yamamoto be a part of Rise's ever nice, beautiful featherweight division?
I don't know who wins, but I like this fight a lot because it's two young guns, two finishers, like you guys are saying. I mean, this has action packed written all over it. So I'm excited to see how it's going to play out. I mean, if you want to pick a winner, I don't know. I'll go with the veteran, I guess, Yamamoto, since he's got, like you were saying, Drew, he's got 11 finishes out of those 12 wins. That's like you were saying, that's pretty good. That's pretty impressive. So I'm gonna pick him. So, but I mean, I'm looking forward to this one. Like I said, two young guns throwing down the epic Rizin cage under the superior rule set. It's gonna be good. I can't wait.
Well, here's interesting. If Yamamoto tries to like go for a submission or something, you can't use the ring to kind of like almost, I don't want to say escape, but kind of like, you can't get full leverage sometimes. Like if somebody's like half under the rope or like kind of caught on the ropes. So this might be the best advantage for Yamamoto when it comes to getting a submission. The cage, I mean.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, like you said, the ring, they can't scoot out the ring to get a restart or whatever. You know how we've seen that happen a couple of times. There's not gonna be none of that. There's gonna be those restarts, no game in the ring to try to escape a submission, like you were saying, Drew. I mean, the cage is gonna solve all those problems.
I'm curious to know as well if that will mean less yellow cards, less of that stuff. I'd be curious to know if we're gonna see less of that. I'm curious to know. Actually, that's one thing I'm interested to see, how strict the referees are when it comes to the grabbing the cage.
Cage grabs.
I'm really curious to know. I know that deep. Well, Rise is Rise. Well, actually, I should just bring up Rise, but like deep is pretty strict. I see the referees handing out yellow cards like candy on some deep shows. Mm-hmm. Like if somebody grabs it, in UFC, you can grab the cage all you want. Like,
don't even get started on that. It's so annoying, bro.
I'm really curious to see how the referees adapt and like what they do when it comes to like if it's like one verbal warning and then like if you still are like holding on, you grab it, then they like stop and then they do the yellow card thing. I'm really curious to see like.
Well, it'll depend. Like if it's an egregious grab where it prevents a takedown, like a blatant, you know what I mean? Like if they were totally gonna get taken down, it's a blatant cage grab. And they shouldn't give them no warning. They should give them an immediate yellow card. But we'll see. I like your scenario, like you were saying, a verbal warning and then a yellow card right away. No messing around. Same thing with groin kicks and eye pokes, all that. There should be no messing around. Just give them a yellow card right away. That's what the yellow cards are for. That and in case they're like, stalling the action, too much clenching against the cage or whatever, then they give me another yellow card. That's one of the.
The Rizin referees are pretty strict. Remember the Karamov Saito fight? Like he got told actually probably more times than he should have, Karamov, to stop doing whatever the fuck he was doing. And then the referee gave him a yellow card. So that was pretty like he was not as hands-on with like the punishment as I thought he would normally be. But like, I think I'm a big fan of Jose Aldo, but I think the most egregious not punishing a fighter for a cage grab was the Chad Mendes fight. When Chad Mendes tried to like suplex him from the back, and
because he like brutally knocked him out like immediately afterwards.
Yes, but the way that Jose Aldo did not get suplex was that he actually held on to the cage.
Yeah,
like pretty visually. It wasn't like from the back or something or anything like that, but it was like pretty blatant.
Yeah, and now in Rizin, you just give him a yellow card for that. You don't have to worry about it. So
we know that referee Wada is not going to put up with that bullshit.
Yeah, exactly. And is Yuji Shimada still still reffing? I can't remember. I know I paid.
Doesn't he ref in one championship?
He only refs in one now. Okay, that's a bummer because I used to like how he would always call for action in the middle of the fight. He'd be like, "Action!" You know what I mean?
That's what Wada does. Wada will
good,
scream
good,
action.
Yeah. Yes.
Like I think he has like a three action word rule. When he says action 3 times and there's no action, everybody gets up.
I'm the opposite. I want as little referee interference as possible. I just have what was that referee's name? Winslow.
Oh God, you're talking about when they have. I think which fight was that where like somebody would have like top position or something and like. I just
remember Hitomi Akano was fighting. I think Misha Tate or something in Strikeforce and was like putting on an ankle lock and she's like action. I'm like, they're grappling. What are you talking about? The girl that doesn't speak English is like looking at you confused.
Oh, that's too funny. Drew,
I like what you were saying. The 3 actions and then the split them up or give them a card. That's a good rule. And then for the cage grabs or eye pokes, 1 verbal warning and then a yellow card immediate. And depending on how egregious the offense is, like say it's a really bad, groin shot or a really bad cage grab to prevent a takedown or a really bad eye poke. No warnings. Give them a yellow card right away on the first one.
Sorry, Jay, to interrupt you, but Michael Collins says that Shimada is a 1 exclusive referee. That's so weird.
When did that happen? I could have sworn
he's been there a long time.
At a Rizin before.
That's so weird. Like
you'd remember because whenever they introduced him in Japan, the crowd boos him. And so you would remember if he was being introduced at Rising events.
Dude, I swear he's been at Rizin before, guys. It had to have been. I could have sworn I seen him at a Rizin, one of the earlier ones.
Remember when they had the deal of 1? Remember when they were kind of like working with every promotion? He might have been then, but then like when 1 decided that their 1 billion viewers was too big for Rizin, they decided, we're going to hire Shimada as an exclusive, which I think is weird. Having a referee, an exclusive, like signing referees to exclusive contracts for your promotions, that's a very weird. I don't like that. That's very skeevy. We know
Shimada's one of the iconic refs from the Pride era. So, I mean, that's probably why they did that. I mean, look how they do with their copycat legend announcer.
Oh yeah,
right?
of course, yeah. CJ, I'm not CJ. Chris, if you're there, you want to give us any thoughts on this match?
He's not there. His mic's off. It says.
Okay, we'll come back to you, Chris. I promise. I think. Code Mayday says Shimada only worked the first 2 Rizin cards.
Oh, see, he was on Rizin. I knew it. Thank you, whichever fan said that.
Code Mayday.
Thank you, Code Mayday.
I think this is a fight that Yamamoto is going to win. If you have that many submission wins and the guy you're going up against is a striker, I always go in favor of the grappler.
Me too. The striker's got like a puncher's chance.
Yes.
But I think once it hits the ground, Yamamoto has a huge advantage.
Exactly.
Yamamoto.
Yeah, and I think we're going to see Yamamoto. I think he's going to get a finish. I think he's going to continue that first round finish streak or close, almost first round finish streak.
Yeah, near perfect. Just call it near perfect.
Near perfect. I think we're going to see him. He's going to be part of future Rizin shows. I watched some of his fights. He's a really exciting fighter. I'm surprised he's not talked about that much, to tell you the truth, in terms of a true prospect. Because I think the word prospect is thrown around so many times that like I think it's abused at this point. It's kind of like dream match for pro wrestling. It's like thrown around so much where like it doesn't have any meaning anymore. I think he's a legitimate prospect from Japan. And I think he's gonna have a big future Rizin if he wins.
And then that's what it is. It is so because it's just been spoken by Drew.
We're gonna get an intermission after this, and then I guess we're gonna have a new member of Bonsai team being announced. I'm guessing, CJ. Oh, CJ?
I'm sorry?
Oh, sorry. I was going to say we're having an intermission after this, and then I'm assuming we're going to get a new Bonsai member being announced for the Rizin New Year's Eve show.
Naturally, they got to do that every event.
Yes, exactly. But after
running out of fighters, though.
Yes. But you know what? They'll probably announce. I'm guessing. I feel like Satoshi's going to be on this. I feel like that's when they're going to bring out Satoshi. Maybe make it.
Yeah, because you got to think. Now you're saying this, they have to start making some New Year's Eve announcements. It's been strangely quiet.
They are having a press conference this week, though. So
yeah.
But I think hopefully they're saving up for the big announcement. You know what the big announcement is, hopefully.
Well, I got you. I got you.
you.
What? Shibatar? Shibatar?
Oh yeah, no, that's another one. That'd be a huge announcement. I'm talking about Tenshin Takeru, the super fight of all super fights.
I like what Michael Collins says. He says Suzuki by UD, knockout forever. He'll probably lose. Next fight we have another interesting prospect, or I guess young guy matchup. I guess we could say Tatsuki Sawamoto, Brave Zone. Tatsuki Sawamoto taking on Takashi Matsuba. Sawamoto currently on a Rizin, I think, winning streak of at least 2 or 1 fight. I believe. I think he has 2. And actually down an insane streak of 12 wins overall. And Matsuba 12-4-1 lost his last match against, guess this, Tomohiro Adanya, who got knocked out at the last show. So but before that he was on a 5-fight win streak. I think this is going to be a pretty one-sided beating, to tell you the truth. CJ, what do you think?
I agree. I think Brave in general is kind of like a up-and-coming gym, and they've been producing some top talent. And when you look at the 2 records, it just looks like Sawamoto has been doing more on a higher level for a longer time. So I think everything kind of favors him.
I definitely think so. Right now, Sawamoto, if this is going to be a flyweight fight, if they're doing a flyweight-like division, I guess, I feel like he's the guy that they're going to focus on for that division. And
don't get me wrong, I love seeing the Grachan guys come over, and it should be fun.
Oh yes, unfortunately, I think Grachan might be the unluckiest promotion, because I think Shion might have been the first fighter from Grachan to get a win in Rizin when he had his fight against Sone. I think. Yeah. Because I think Lukoku even said during his press conference, like, hey, I know that Grachan fighters haven't been so lucky here. So I want to change that streak.
You're saying that Grachan is officially beneath Fighting Nexus?
I guess so. Hey, listen. If Sawamoto is he's Zest. So does that count as Fighting Nexus? No, they're kind of like sister promotions, right? Sister promotions.
I believe so. Yeah.
Well, I guess. Oh yeah. So Jay, any thoughts on this flyweight fight?
Yes, I'm actually excited about it because it's like you said, it's a flyweight fight, and Tapology has Sawamoto ranked at number 2. So I mean, I'm expecting some big things. And you said he was on how big of a win streak is he on right now? You said
12.
12. Okay, so I'm expecting some big things from him. You saying that possibly he might be the reason they're trying to do a flyweight division around him, possibly. So. Okay, well, yeah, you're better informed than probably 90% of the people out there. So that probably could be what it is. So I'm excited to see what he can do. And you saw the previous flyweight bouts that they just had on the Epic Risings, one or 2 Epic Risings ago. I forget what it was, but there's a couple of flyweight bouts, and they were action packed. So I mean, this guy he's ranked number 2. So the Matsuba Tapology has him at 37, and his record's not even that bad. 12-4. You said he's coming off a loss, but yeah. I mean it's still 12-4 is not a bad record at all. And so I'm expecting fireworks from this fight, to be honest with you. I'm pretty hyped about it because I'm hyped about Rizin paying attention to the flyweight division. I'm always hoping for a Grand Prix. So I think it'd be great if you're saying they're potentially building the division around Sawamoto, then let's see what he can do here and maybe build into a big old Grand Prix. How fun would that be?
Especially because all the flyweights from Rizin have gone up to bantamweight. Kyoji, I think Kai at one point was flyweight, maybe.
Wasn't Cape a flyweight too?
Oh yes, Cape. Yeah, Cape as well. Now he's back. I think it's flyweight in UFC now. So a lot of the more well-known names went up the bantamweight. So I guess now this is kind of like a way to rejuvenate that flyweight division. And listen, Japan has a ton of flyweights. You know that, CJ. You go to the deep shows. There's like 5, 6, 7, 8 flyweight fights a lot of times, right?
Yeah, there's a lot. And I was just looking through the records a little closer, and I mean, Tatsuki's clearly beaten the better fighters. I mean, he beat Ito outside of Rizin, so he kind of beat a guy that's been doing well in Rising back in his earlier career. And Takahashi's like biggest wins over Seigo Yamamoto, aka I will spam flying knees until you knock me out in my Rising debut.
Hey, listen, it's a good plan until you get punched in the face.
But I mean, looking at that just further convinces me that he is clearly the favorite going into this fight. Tatsuki.
I mentioned that Sawamoto's his 2 losses. So the first loss he had, he was apparently injured taking that fight. And it was like a last minute fight as well. And then the second loss was a loss in China against a Chinese fighter. So, but the rest of his fights,
trying to say something there, Andrew? Trying to say something?
I think he didn't do enough to beat the Chinese fighter in China. I'll just say that.
Zhen Wu is a staple of the Chinese MMA scene.
Oh, he is? Oh, yeah.
No, I've never heard of him. I've never heard of him. Fought Kai Kara France, though, so you got that going for you.
And lost to Kai Kara France.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good fighter, though.
Oh, yeah. But here's the only thing about Sawamoto. He is not a finisher. He's a grinded out guy. So what do you think? So this is a cage. You know, as you mentioned, what the advantages that it does for a wrestler and disadvantages. CJ, do you think that Sawamoto will see the cage and be like, okay, I can hold this guy against the fence, and I can get a 3-round win very easily against this guy?
Yeah, I mean, he's a wrestler that trains at a wrestling gym. I think he's going to be able to take the guy down as much as he wants and keep him down as long as he wants.
Michael Collins says, honestly, Trigger should go full NHB, #headbutts. Imagine
what, a la Ken Shamrock versus Hoist Gracie, just hold them down and headbutt them.
You know, maybe that'll be the next type of show that Rizin has. It'll be a Rizin left way.
Yeah, there you go. Add as many bonus events as you guys can think of. Rizin
what Daryl Lococo has been waiting for.
Oh, what did you say, CJ? Go ahead.
Daryl Lococo's been waiting for. Isn't he a left way fighter?
Yeah. He's done everything.
Yeah, there we go. Hey, and Sakakibara-san, send it in. Rizin Lethway, Rizin Moat fights. Let's go. Let's get all these side dishes, gravy and mashed potatoes, everything. Let's go.
And also, Michael Collins says, CJ, your beanie is a damn good look.
Thank you. My hair is really messy, so I put the beanie on.
It's also probably very cold in Japan right now.
It is very cold. For some reason, my windows are still open.
It's about 30 degrees here in New York, so it's probably like equivalent there in Japan right now. Maybe a little bit colder.
Cold.
Well, you guys don't even want to know what it's like here in California.
Oh, fuck you. Fuck you.
I'm in a t-shirt and shorts right now.
Fuck you. How dare you? Jay's officially banned from now on. He's no longer he's no more epic Rizin from him. You're gone, CJ. I'm gonna make you do a Gabby Garcia apology right now. You're gonna get on your knees right now. You're gonna apologize for your distasteful words on the weather conditions of New York versus California.
Hey, you're in a t-shirt too. What the heck? You must have a heater going. That's why.
Well, I got my ring light on, and my ring light is actually pretty hot. And I have like my computer on, my TV on, my PlayStations are all on. So like my room is heated just by electronics. By the mere fact I have so many electronics running. I'll tell you one fight though that's gonna have a lot of heat is this next fight. Sheehan versus Full Swing. I think this is gonna be an awesome match.
All CJ, about Full Swing. I love Full Swing.
Yeah.
What do you think about this match? So it should be noted, Full Swing is like on like a 5-4 fight losing streak right now. He's lost everything. He had a kickboxing match for Rise. He got knocked out for that. He's lost all but one of his Rizin fights. And I think he had one other fight for another promotion as well, maybe Shuto. And he lost that as well. And then we got Sheehan, who's looking to rebound from that loss from the bantamweight quarterfinals. So what do you think, CJ? Does this even make it out of the first minute of the first round?
First off, this fight's going to be hilarious no matter what happens because Kenji Osawa is going to be in Full Swing's corner yelling crazy stuff throughout the fight. Last time, I think the crowd was actually laughing at what Osawa was saying. So, I mean, we all know Full Swing. We know how he's called Full Swing for a reason. And I think it's going to be great. It's going to be fun.
And CJ, I'm not CJ. Jay, all these J's are confusing me. Jay, what do you think is going to, how do you think this fight's going to go? You think knockout first minute, first round?
Oh, I definitely see fireworks in this. Full swing brings the action. So I think it's going to be a good fight. So we'll see what happens. I'm hoping, everybody's rooting for Full Swing. We want to see him win. He's a good character. You say he's going to have a character in his corner as well. So it's just going to be an all around fun fight. I can't wait. So and he's already proven to bring the action. So we already know it's going to have action packed fireworks in it. So I don't know if it'll be a first round knockout, but there's a very good chance that it doesn't see the scorecards.
Michael Collins says that he's in Wisconsin. It's 17 degrees there. So I have nothing to complain about because he is like in middle of like depressing like winter weather type area. And he says Full Swing will destroy and Xi'an will destroy. You have to pick one, Michael Collins. You can't pick both of them to win. Okay, there can only be one winner and one loser. This is MMA. This isn't a left way where there has to be where it goes to a draw at the because I'm presuming this won't go to a draw. So actually I will say this. So the one of the things about I think that Xi'an might be the better overall fighter in this. Full Swing, like we said, he just he just swings. There's no rhythm, there's no beauty to it. He kind of just throws punches and the right one will land. But Xi'an seems at least a little bit more, I think he's also from Brave as well, if I'm correct. I'll double check on that. But do you think at all that who do you think will win? Do you have a winner for this, CJ?
My heart says Full Swing. I can't go against Full Swing. I'll never cheer against Full Swing.
Yes, I'm right in their same boat.
I take that back. I don't know why Xi'an was. One of his opponents was his Kuya Ito that he fought in Gratchen is from Brave. That's why I was thinking of that. No, he's an Osaka guy. Xi'an is the representative of Osaka for this show. So
there we go.
Osaka's part of the Kansai region, like
Full
Kobe
Swing is also Hyogo, which is the same area.
He was, but now he trains out of Hearts.
Come on, man.
what
booking he's getting. They're not going to say it. This is one championship style where Angela Lee's Canadian, Singapore, Chinese, Hawaiian, depending on what you need.
So we got one guy who stayed in the Kansai, and the other guy who said, I'm Tokyo bound. I'm going to train with Osawa, become a better fighter.
You could say that he just really went for it and swung for the fences.
There you go.
Yeah.
So what do you think the odds are that this becomes a 3-round grappling match? This becomes Paul Daly and MVP.
Don't even put that into the ether. Don't even put that out there.
I know. Why do you even put that in the universe, Drew?
Because you have to prepare yourself for this. Because when the fights don't go the way they go, you have to just set yourself up for both excitement and disappointment. Because if I see Full Swing try to grapple, hopefully you learn from the Montoya fight that grappling is not his strong suits. And that's fine. That's totally fine. But if I see Full Swing try to go for a takedown against the cage on Xi'an, I'm gonna be like, oh shit.
He's gonna come off first round, do a double leg just for you.
I didn't watch it, but wasn't apparently last week's UFC show just Decision City?
I think although one fight went to a decision, I think it was on the prelims. See,
at that point, I would want them all to go to decision. Like if I was watching it, I'd come on, let's do it. All decisions.
Well,
it's no UFC knockout where there were no knockouts, but
yeah. Oh God, yes. Oh yes.
Where they also stopped naming the events.
I think it's also important to mention that Full Swing is on a 5-fight losing streak, 4 MMA, 1 kickboxing. What do you
was he exciting? Was he excited?
Doesn't matter. Let him fight forever.
Exactly. There you go. CJ knows what's up.
Okay, never mind. I was gonna say what do you think happens? Okay, fight forever. Okay.
If he loses 2 more, let him start using his bat.
He did bring his bat to the media things. He always brings his bat. I like that. So we got swords. Hopefully Suzuki brings his sword. Hopefully Shoji brings his sword. I hope that Full Swing brings his bat.
Yeah, they got to bring all the props.
And we had last week the fighter who brought the gun. What was
it? Like a machine gun. Yeah,
that shit was awesome.
You said, Jay, that it was actually loaded.
No, did you see the pictures beforehand, like with the pre-fight pictures? it was like a clear magazine, and you could see bullets in the magazine. Looked like it was a real gun, dude.
There's no way you could get that in Japan.
That's what I was thinking too.
It's probably like an airsoft or a paintball gun.
But it sure looked real.
But I'm really excited for this fight. I think this fight will be incredibly exciting. I hope it's just, if it goes 3 rounds, I hope it's just them punching each other for 5 minutes for 3 rounds, not even stopping. Or it becomes kind of like it just, I'm okay with it going to the decision as long as it's just like it doesn't go to the ground. If they're just punching each other, boom, 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 I will be a happy camper.
Drew just
if it goes to the decision, we're going to get some funny Kenji Osawa yelling. So it's win-win.
Oh, yeah. And
any situation.
Doesn't he also sorry guys, I actually didn't have my charger in, I realized. Doesn't Kenji Osawa say if a fighter's fighting horribly, you're fighting like shit, do better or something? Doesn't he say stuff like that?
He says pretty funny stuff, so I wouldn't put it past him.
Because I thought I've heard him say not insulting fighters who are doing badly when they're when they're fighting. At least that's what I'm hearing.
I don't remember that, but he does say funny stuff, so I wouldn't put it past him.
What's this? Oh, Michael Collins says it's funny that Kenji Osawa went full swing is better in Rizin during the Shuto One sponsorship. Oh my God. If he said that, oh my God, the balls on Osawa to say full swing is better in Rizin. It's CJ, what would is that another Osawa thing? Just to say oh yeah, he's better fighting the other promotion.
He's pretty direct. I think he's just going to say what he thinks. And he's not like Chonen or Aoki, who have kind of their all their money kind of in the one championship basket.
Oh, okay. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to this fight. I think this fight will be a stand and bang phone booth fight. I think it's really going to be exciting. I think someone will be knocked out in the first round. I will not. Nice. It will not be a grappling match. They will not go down to the ground. It will not go down to the ground once at all. It is going to be.
There we go.
Oh, it'll be fought on the feet. Now, the next fight I think is a very interesting fight because it is truly veteran versus up and comer. Ryo Ichiro Sumimura taking on Yusaku Kinoshita. Kinoshita is 4-0, finished all of his fights. Sumimura, well, by the way, this is a welterweight fight. That rare welterweight fight. Sumimura, who I think is in the deep welterweight champion, I believe.
Ooh, that's a good question. I'm so bad at remembering who the champions are.
Apology says he's ranked number 4.
I only remember who that Amanda Lucas is still the champion in deep.
Oh, that's always important. Let's see. I'm trying to find Sumimura's no, it doesn't say anything.
No, he's not champion, no.
Oh, okay. I thought he was deep welterweight champion. Oh, okay, never mind. But if you remember, Sumimura had that really boring ass fight against Let's Go Gota Yamashita, Rise of 25. If anybody remembers that, I barely do, so no problem if you don't. This is, I think, Michael Collins said that Osawa said it straight up in the confessions video for the Full Swing's fight in Rizin. Is this for the newest one? I didn't know they came out with a new one for the Trigger shows.
I haven't seen one come out yet. It must have been an older one because he's had a couple fights in the promotion.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Oh, yeah, I was gonna say, I missed that one too. I want to retweet that.
So, okay, just want to give also the age difference between these two fighters. Sumimura is 35 while Kinoshita is 21. So, what do you think about a fight like this?
He is the welterweight champion, by the way.
He is the. I thought he was. I thought it was. So wait, he has 5 fights that he didn't defend the title.
Hey, Amanda Lucas is the champion.
Okay,
and also Seika Izawa is not the strawweight champion. Mizuki Inoue is. Okay. Who has been in the UFC for how long?
Good point. Good point. Good point. Regarding this fight, CJ, what do you think about this? Putting a guy who's had a year of experience versus someone who's looking like he's going to be a top prospect in MMA.
Well, I'm excited about it because it's like the outside of the Momoka fight. This is like one of the few fights on the card that actually seems to be doing what they said the purpose of Trigger was. So this is like one of the rare fights that's like a veteran versus a young up and comer.
Is that what the purpose that they said was that you were
That's what
saying?
Sakaki
earlier,
Bar
CJ?
said. It was kind of to put veterans against up and comers. It would give veterans a kind of like an opportunity to get a win back, or a comeback fight, and or for prospects to get wins and
It's
get
like their attempt
experience.
to create like a kind of feeder league where veterans that can't make it in Rising can have chances to shine, and young up and comers can put some wins together and get into Rising, I think. But
That's cool. And
I
it
like
gives them
the idea.
experience.
I love fights like this because you really have no idea what's going to happen. Because when you have untested prospects like this, they either rise to the occasion or they don't, and you don't know until you test them.
That's
What
right.
what do you think, Jay?
I love it. I mean, like CJ was saying, a vet versus a young gun. I mean, the vet's number 4 ranked here on Tapology, so he's
by the way, as
obviously
well, not like a veteran who's like, on his last legs or whatever. He's still a regularly fighting fighter.
Yeah.
Sumimura.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's going to be cool. I mean, and that's like CJ was saying that, and you were saying, Drew, that's the purpose of what Sakaki Barasan was saying that he wanted to do with Rizin, was have vets give him a second chance, make it to the big show, or the up and coming prospect to, give the young guns a chance to make it to the big show or get some wins together and get some cage experience so they can go to like overseas shows or something. So, I mean, it's going to be cool. The young guns 4-0 undefeated. So, I'm looking forward to seeing how he's going to perform. And I like this matchup. Let's see how Sakaki Bara's plan comes to fruition. And let's see, I mean, it's probably going to be lots of fireworks. I mean, you said Sumimura's last fight was kind of boring. So, probably.
Horizon.
Yeah.
I'm looking at it. I'm looking at his record. He fought the same opponent twice in deep. CJ, was it? And I see that one was a technical decision. Was this a fight where I think
It was the worst low blow I've ever seen. I think.
That's it. That's the one. And
Yeah.
he could not get up or something.
They took him out on a stretcher. Like, it looked like the
that's
guy's
the
dead.
fight.
Yeah. It was the worst low blow I've ever seen. I think Aoki was in his corner, and the other corner had Yushin Okami, and they had to carry the guy out on a stretcher. It was like it was like a direct kick to the dick.
Those are the absolute worst. God.
Oh yeah. I remember I was tweeting about it as I watched it. I'm like, I think this guy might be dead.
So the worst low blow I ever saw.
That's my dick kick.
The worst low blow I ever saw. It was for one of the Bellator shows. It was the one that Raymond Daniels. He did like a spinning back kick to that one guy.
Oh yeah.
That was the
never
worst
forget.
ever. Oh my God.
The guy screamed. I can still hear those guys, his opponent's screams to.
What was it? Was there a fight where a guy tried to do like a jumping, twisting stomp onto a down upon stomach and nailed him in the dick?
No. There was one in Bellator where it was an axe kick. It was an axe kick stomp.
Oh, I remember that now.
And then there's always the one where Mirko Krokop's testicle exploded or went inside his body.
Oh, that poor guy, the poor legend.
There's been some bad low blows.
Yeah, but let's not go through the history of low blows here. I lose some viewers.
Michael Collins says Sumimura kind of sucks. CJ, what do you think about him? You've seen him more in deep. Do you think he's a fighter that sucks?
Okay, so don't look up jumping low blow. It's bad. It's not MMA related. I just want you to know. Yeah, I watched the fight. I've only seen him that I can remember in those 2 recent fights, and he didn't stick out anything special to me.
He's kind of just a fighter who's there, and maybe like because the welterweight division is kind of just like a desert. He's just like he's a big fish in a really small pond, a really tiny pond.
Hey, Tapology has him ranked number 4, though, guys. It's not like.
But that's in Japan, though. I would certainly not say he's number 4 worldwide. There's no way.
No, of course. No, yeah, no, we're saying it in Japan, but that's what it says on Tapology. He's number 4.
But also,
the
talent pool for welterweight in Japan is so small. That's a problem. That like it's such a tiny. It's just one of those divisions that just doesn't have a lot of people in Japan. That's why
I agree with the guy's comment that he didn't impress me.
Let's see. Michael Collins also says, but Amanda Lucas did give up deep, accidentally uploading wait, hold on. Could you repeat that again, Michael Collins? I don't know if you typed it out correctly. Because I'm not sure what you're trying to say. Kobe Day says that Kinoshita has beat some real experienced guys by finish, but it's another young fighter getting thrown to the wolves. Well, here's the thing. if Kinoshita, I don't think it is getting full into rules because if Kinoshita really is an up and coming fighter who has a lot of talent, he should beat Sumimura, who's maybe like mid tier level fighter in a division that's doesn't have a lot of experience and flourishing talent. So I think
is it too fast? Yes, I would say so, but it's not like insane to me. I mean, if you look at he's been fighting amateur fights since 2017. So I mean, he's been training for a while.
Yeah, and it's I think clearly the guy is good. I mean, if he gets I'm looking at so the guys that Kinoshita has fought, they've been 1-2, 4-1, 22, 24-3, and 17-19.
That's not bad for his first couple of fights. He's fighting experienced guys. I mean,
and he does have all first round finishes. Listen, if he finishes Sumimura, I think that raises a lot of Kinoshita up a lot. I don't know what you do with him after. I don't know what you do with him after because just the division. I don't know. The division is just so sparse. Like you can't really. It'll be just him and Strasser Kishi.
Well, they're going to be bringing in international fighters for New Year's and beyond. So there's plenty of chances.
Kobe Day says Sumimura is number 4 welterweight behind Shinya Yoki and Tokodome.
Those rankings are solid, man.
Okay.
And the average age of those rankings, 80. Like God.
Oh, okay. Oh, Michael Collins says that Deep uploaded a full show called Lucas versus Hota. It was just a full show from like 2010 or so. Do you know anything about that, CJ? So
all I remember about Amanda Lucas is I was living in Japan at the time, and they had her come out with stormtroopers.
Yeah, and Darth Vader.
And I also remember it was like such a publicity grab because it's like she fought at a weight that just doesn't exist in Japan. Find her somebody to kill.
Hey, listen, I don't. Good on D for that. That's one of those things that like you see like randomly on like r/MMA. Today I learned that Amanda Lucas fought as a pro MMA fighter in Japan. So
I'm looking at Deep's championship page. It's just like I'm having like a stroke. They have like the same division numerous times, just with different names. Like they have Miku as the women's lightweight champion, which they classify as 48 kilograms. She also retired probably like in 2009. Then they have the women's featherweight, also labeled at 48 kilograms. And they have the champion as Tomo Miyazawa, who also retired and I think is pregnant. And then they have they don't even have their actual atom weight division up. Oh my God.
Oh, someone needs to update their page then.
Yeah. No, it's weird because they're like periodically updating it, but in very strange spots.
Maybe they don't pay the intern enough.
Or who do you think is uploading that stuff? Who's the person who's uploading all that crazy stuff?
No idea.
Code Bay Day says Amanda Lucas said she didn't want Star Wars involved in the promotion of the fight. She wanted to be her own person. The big Star Wars. I can just imagine like she's getting ready to fight and suddenly all these stormtroopers just like walk up behind her and she's like, "What the fuck?"
Can you imagine paying money you're a regional promotion and you pay money to fly Amanda Lucas out to fight for your event, and all of a sudden she's like, "I don't want to bring Star Wars up." You're like, "Okay, yeah, we totally won't."
You know how like Japanese MMA has like that kind of like that tradition of like maybe screwing over like the foreign fighters.
Yeah.
Like this is like a complete opposite. It's like, oh no, we won't. It's like I don't know what level this goes of like telling like a fighter, oh yeah, like a day before like who he's fighting or like what level of like shenanigans is this? But I much prefer that. I think that's hilarious. That It's like, how do you not know? Like, did you like? How does she like? How do you not know that like it's not happening? Do you not see the stormtroopers that are right behind you?
And the giant Vader guy,
Darth Vader right there
with them. I am willing to bet they probably played the Star Wars music as well as their walkout music. Probably like the Darth Vader theme.
They did. It was the Imperial March theme.
And she's like, oh fuck this shit.
No, I think she won by like first round finish.
Oh, listen, Yeah, she's reigning champion of 145, was it?
Open weight.
It was women's
Open weight,
megaton.
sorry. The women's megaton.
I mean, she's one of many. She's one with Tomo Miyazawa, Kim Jong, Miku. You have champions listed who haven't fought for the promotion in years. I love it. I love it.
But,
Yeah.
so anybody have any thoughts on this? Any particular winner? I'm gonna pick Kinoshita. I say prospect over veteran.
Me too.
I'm picking the same as well.
And I'm gonna accentuate that first round finish. I think he's gonna finish Sumi.
There we go.
Oh.
Now we get some hot takes.
We got another welterweight-ish fight. 68 kilograms. Hold on, I can't do kilograms. Is that welterweight?
It's 100
Just
bantamweight.
multiply by
134. No, I'm sorry. I just had like a mini stroke. It's 170. Yeah, it's featherweight.
I'm stupid. I'm reading the one after that. Oh my god, I'm so stupid. It's 77, another welterweight fight. Because Rizin puts the fighters' names and then the rules under the names. I'm so used to doing top down, not top whatever. Okay. Strasser Kichi making his return from Bellator is kind of like not so good run of Bellator, taking on Takahiro Kawanaka. Oh my god. Kawanaka. Yes. So any thoughts on this fight? You got, Strasser Kichi's been UFC, Bellator. He's Rizin.
Well, Strasser's Twitter campaign eventually worked. I think he's been asking to fight for Rizin for a long time, and he finally made it.
Hey, it worked for the Russian guy. Fuck,
it's not working anymore, even though they keep trying.
The Shemetov brothers? The Shemetov brothers?
Mm-hmm.
You're talking about the Shemetov brothers, right?
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't know why I couldn't think of his name because I interviewed him. That's how long it's been.
Alexander Shemetov. And then he hopefully they match him up with Shibatar sometime. That'd be awesome. JMA Twitter fighter versus a YouTube fighter.
Well, I think he's still trying to find his romance in Japan.
Hasn't he been calling out Mikuru? Like they've been doing some crazy call outs on their Twitter pages.
Yeah, but see, again, they got to realize it's because of COVID. They can't get in the country yet. Once next year, New Year's Eve happens, then next year, then they can bring them back, and hopefully they'll bring them back. Because I mean, that's like, I liked having them, and for one of the lower fights, why not? The Shemetov bros were pretty cool. They felt like the Japanese MMA Twitter fighters. Like they're the official JMA Twitter fighters, basically. So I enjoyed their fights, just like I enjoyed the Olagun fight last time. I thought that was pretty fun, even though they kind of gassed a little bit. It was still pretty fun. So I mean, it's going to be fun anyways. But we were talking about here with Strasser Kichi, Kunamoto, and Kawanaka. I mean, Kunamoto's he's got the cage experience from UFC and Rise and Bellator, so he's coming in with some cage time experience. So, I mean, we'll see what happens, but I don't like picking the winner. But it says his opponent Kawanaka on Tap All. It says he's the number 11th ranked in Japan, and
he's a good fighter. No, Strasser Kichi is a good fighter. Like he's not like one of those guys who just won Japan and kind of lost in US. I mean, he did lose in US, but he is a good fighter. He is legitimately a good fighter.
Exactly. So, I mean, I'm looking forward to it because, now he's going to be unleashed under the superior rule set in the cage. He's got cage experience, and now he's going to be unleashed on the superior rule set. So I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do with that. So, but I mean, he's the older fighter in this matchup, right? Kawanaka's younger.
I believe he is. I'm double check. Sorry, my internet connection.
He's older. He's 9 years older.
So that'd be the only thing against him I could see, because I mean, you always got to favor the younger fighter most of the time, but you never know. I mean, the old man strength is real, so it could be. And like I was saying, he's got the more cage experience, the big stage cage experience, so that could factor into his his advantage for this bout. So we'll see what happens, but I'm looking forward to it because
but here's a little hiccup in that. Takahiro Kawanaka is from Brave Gym.
Oh shoot, Brave fighter.
Is that?
I remember back when Strasser was fighting for the UFC, they were doing those like some YouTube videos, and he's from like a really rough part of Osaka. Did you ever see that? There's like a bunch of homeless people under a bridge yelling at him.
Was that? Didn't also Vice do something on that? On like
I think it was a Vice video.
that
Vice
was the
followed
Vice.
him around.
Yeah.
It was Vice. Vice followed him around, and a bunch of homeless people were yelling at him, and he was like, "I'm from this neighborhood," and they were like, "Oh, okay."
I'll have to go look that up. That's hilarious.
I think he was from a part of Osaka that had like a bunch of riots, like back to the '90s or something. But he's from a tough area, and I'm just thrown off because Kanahara took time off and came back and did really well. And so maybe the time off will actually do Strasser well. He'll be refreshed and he'll look really good. But I'm going to pick Strasser to win.
Oh, okay. What do you think, CJ? I'm just fuck JJ. What do you think?
I'm with CJ. I like it. I think I'm going to pick it because he's the layup. I'll do the old man good. The veteran, it'll do the veteran good to have a little bit longer layup, I think. So, and he, like I said, he's got the cage experience, big stage cage experience. So I'm leaning towards picking him for this bout, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I can't wait to see what he can do, unleashed on the superior rule set in the cage. So it's going to be a good one. I can't wait.
Oh yeah, I remember that he lost to both Ed Roof and Jason Jackson in Bellator. I remember those two fights. Yeah. And then
but he brought the action himself. So
he was supposed to fight Neiman Gracie. He was supposed to fight Neiman Gracie at some point. Oh my God. I definitely think that they want to give Strasser a win. They kind of want to give him like a little bit of a easy win. I don't know how if Kawanaka is going to be an easy win though. He does bully his opponents. I've watched a few of his fights. Michael Collins says, was that the Waru vid? I think do you mean for the you mean the Strasser documentary the documentary in Osaka, right? I'm assuming that's what you're talking about.
Yeah, the one that CJ was talking about where he was in a rough neighborhood.
Is that I think Waru, is that what you're talking about? Michael Collins says that Strasser's going to choke out the dude like in his last Rizin fights. Actually, you know who that was? Guess what? That was Sumimura that he choked out in like the last second. He did a Demetrius Johnson finish in the last second of the first round. So, you know what?
Yeah, that was awesome.
I think we're all on the Kichi train, the Strasser train, and then they can do a rematch of him and Sumi. No, not a rematch. He can then fight Kinoshita, the real veteran versus the real up and coming prospect.
There you go. I like it, Drew. I like it.
Now we're gonna go into the co-main. Now this is one that I am so interested in this fight. Yoshinori Horie, who's on a hot streak, taking on Hirotaka Nakata, who we've interviewed since his first MMA fight, except for this time we didn't get a chance to interview him. Unfortunately, we just had no time till. Truly Rizin said it's prospect versus prospect. I think it's unfair to call Horie a prospect. I don't think that's a fair statement.
He's not a prospect anymore.
Yeah, again, prospect is thrown around so many times. I think it's abused at this point. Nakata truly is a prospect. He's from the Hearts Gym, Kenji Osawa, so we could get some Osawa craziness. Yeah. And Horie has looked great in all of his fights. Looked like amazing since coming back from his UFC tenure. So, what do you think about this fight, CJ?
Well, I've seen Nakata fight in person. I saw him at Pancrase 321, where he fought Tomoda Issei, a fellow UFC veteran. And my takeaway from that fight would be he beat Tomoda Issei, but Issei was able to hit him a lot. And then Issei, it's kind of like a typical Issei fight where Issei just threw a bunch of haymakers that landed, and he didn't knock out his opponent, so he got tired. So then he got knocked out by his opponent. So my takeaway from that is Nakata's hittable, is what I've learned from that fight. And so while he's a young upcoming prospect, I still think he has some holes in his game. And I think Horie has just looked really good. And he seems to be kind of like a rising star. And I'm going to pick Horie probably to win this fight.
How about you, JayWolf?
Yeah, I'm right there with them. I'm going with Horie. And he's got the more experience in Nakata, and you know, you guys are saying he's the one that's the rising star. He's ranked number 13 here on Tapology. So I mean, He said he's on a great streak, and I remember his fights in Rizin. He brought the action in his most recent fights. So that's why he's in the co-main here, because they're expecting him to bring the action again. So I'm looking forward to it. Obviously, because this featherweight division is one of the Epic Rizin's top divisions, and pretty much around the world. There's the lighter weight divisions has always been just deep throughout the entire world. There's always been a plethora of talent across the entire world at light divisions. But I think featherweight in Japan is really one of their better weight classes. And so I'm looking for, and like you said, you guys are saying Hori's possibly an up and coming star. So and Nakata,
hey, Jay, can you continue talking? I just have to answer the door for 1 second. Just continue talking.
Oh,
I know
okay.
you like to talk. Okay, go ahead. As long as you can.
Yeah, go ahead. I was just saying that CJ was saying how Nakata, he had a good fight that CJ was at live. So I mean that's showing he's a worthy prospect of being thrown in there against Hori. So I mean it's just it's got fireworks written all over it. You can tell why this one was made for the co-main, because they wanted a good action fight to complement the main event that's going to be bringing some action as well. So I'm just looking forward to it. I just can't wait. Like I said, I mean, the main event is also featherweight as well. So we're getting 2 back-to-back featherweight bouts. So and hopefully this all these featherweight bouts, like I'm saying, that's one of the best divisions they got. And maybe it's all built into like a big mega Grand Prix, like a mega international Grand Prix, which is another thing we got to mention too, because with the UNEXT and Landmarks, you saw how they were partnering with Bellator, right? UNEXT, the Bellator Japan next week is going to be on UNEXT in Japan for.
But you're not happy about CJ. You're not happy about that because you used to get those shows for free, right?
Oh, I'm not. There's no way in hell I'm paying for that. I'm absolutely furious. My wife was like, "Oh, it's gonna be on UNEXT," and I was like, "It was on YouTube for free. Like every Bellator until then has been on YouTube for free, and now they're trying to sell us. Like, who pays for Bellator? Do they pay for it in the U.S.?
We do. We have to pay. They're on Showtime here.
Oh, the last time I remember a pay-per-view was when
it was
Gracie
Silva
would beat Ken Shamrock with a dick kick. So,
oh yeah.
And was that also the event where 2 people died in the cage and had to be resuscitated?
Yes, Dada 5000 and Kimbo Slice.
Yeah, they had to be resuscitated. So I mean, that was the only time I've ever paid for Bellator, and I don't think I can ever do it again.
Oh man, no. We have to pay for them every time. They're on Showtime, so that's
well, we're not paying for Bellator. Technically, we're paying the subscription service.
Yeah,
so like,
I mean, technically, it's paying for it.
Bellator, by their own admission, their pay-per-views were not successful. That's why they're not on pay-per-view anymore. That's why there's no more pay-per-views.
Didn't they only have a pay-per-view because they had fighters like Rampage who had explicit contract where they had to be offered pay-per-views?
Yeah, it was something like that. Some kind of situation like that where they had to do the pay-per-view. Plus, it was a big fight where they thought they could pull off a successful pay-per-view. I think one of them was in the Rebney era, Bjorn Rebney era, and it might have been wasn't it with Alvarez, and wasn't Alvarez fight on one of them? I can't remember right now, but anyways, I don't think they weren't that not successful. They scored 100,000 buys, didn't they? No, that's what I thought. I mean, CJ, that reminds me. Since you found out how much the UNEXT buy rate was, which I think is impressive, 80,000 for just a 4-fight card, I think is pretty good. Would you be able to find out what the trigger numbers are as well? I mean,
just depends. I mean, Shu would be the one to know what the numbers are.
So actually, how is this being run? Is this through Sky Perfect TV again?
It's not through UNEXT, isn't it? It's through
No. Because we wouldn't be able to watch it if it was.
Yeah. For us, it's through Live Now for international fans.
Yeah, I was just going to do it through the Japanese Rising website.
I'm sorry if I'm a little late to the party on this.
Are the kids still alive? Did you babysit effectively?
I mean, yeah, the kids are still alive. My nephews are still alive, who will remain nameless for the sake of this podcast. But still.
Hey, you made it just in time for the co-main event.
You mean little Sakakibara and little Takada are doing just fine?
Yeah.
I assume you named them that.
But still, point of the matter is, and I was basically telling Andrew this, I was going to basically speed through my picks. So as far as the kickboxing bouts, the only bouts I really give a damn about outside the only bout I really give a damn about outside the Mondokoro bouts are Tepa Reef, the former WBA World Super Flyweight Champion, beating up Ichimura. Other than that, I don't really care. Anyways, I got Daiki Lightyear, aka Daiki Subota, over Makoto Kamaya. Bogdanov, our other boy, basically beating, well, not just beating the shit out of Kisuke Okuda, but making him tap the fuck out. I got Chihiro Suzuki knocking out Yamamoto. I got Tatsuki Sawamoto defeating Matsuba. Full Swing giving Shion a bit of a little, what am I trying to say? He's going to give him the airplane spinner, but in the reverse. I mean, it's not really possible to do that inside of a cage, but I highly doubt that with his crazy ass, he'll do something like that. I got, as far as the welterweight fights go, I don't really have a choice as to who's going to win those fights. Because really, I ain't got no dog in the fight for either one of them, especially the Strasa Kunimoto Kawanaka fight. That can go either way. I just hope that Rizin's 2022 will equal more welterweight fights, because we got to see more of that miraculous unicorn known as the welterweight division.
Yeah, and they will. Once the COVID restrictions are lifted and they'll start bringing in international fighters, you guys will see we're going to have more international heavier weight fighters. Will be just like the dude where Jerry Prochazka and Vadim Nemkov, two superstar fighters now, and that they were from Epic Rizin, bro. Rizin is the one that found them, and those are two of the best light heavyweights in the entire world right now. So I mean, dude,
I'll say
this, man.
I'll say this about welterweights. Japan already has enough flourishing heavyweights along with these four. Like we learned earlier, we got Kazuki Tokudome and Shinya Aoki, who said he wants to fight in Rizin again. So there is a lot of welterweights in Rizin at this point.
Yeah, and then we add the international ones. Oh, go ahead, Jay.
Here's the thing, though. How is Shinya Aoki with his croaky voice ass gonna be fighting in Rizin without pissing off ONE FC?
He pisses off everybody.
It's one championship now. Please.
Oh yeah.
Thoughtfuls like us have to stop saying
you can't call him fighting no more.
No. Aoki, I mean, is he for out? I mean, there's no way he can fight for Rizin if he's still under one championship contract, right?
Yeah, is his contract up or no?
I doubt it.
It probably is if he's wanting to scope Rizin out.
Or he's trying to get one championship to give him more money.
Yep.
Yeah, and plus the fact that the dude's got his DDT Pro Wrestling gig ready, and if he goes to Noah, we all know what's up.
Oh, he won't be in Noah. He's too small for Noah. I don't think he'd ever have him in Noah.
Bullshit, pal. Bullshit.
But Chris, more importantly, we were just talking about Jorge Nakata. What is your thoughts on one of our other boys?
Yes, our main boy, Andrew. Nakata is going to be in the most important fight of his life. And I hate to go into full-blown Stephen A. Smith mode, but I'm here to tell you right now. If Nakata does not win this fight, if Nakata does not make Jorge get knocked out within the first 90 seconds, like what happened in that me and Hakeem Odu fight, I'm gonna be here to tell you right now. We don't care. Because seriously,
that's a little hard.
That's not to lift the leg entirely on Jorge. That's basically just to say that, Nakata is basically pissing away his biggest opportunity. And I really do think that if Nakata doesn't win this fight, he might not get another opportunity like this again. So Nakata, in case you're listening to us and trying to learn more about the English language, all I can tell you this is straight up. Like Al Davis once said, just win, baby.
Yes.
But here's, so here, you did make a good point. I think CJ, it was you who said that Nakata does get hit a lot. He does get hit a lot, but he has not been knocked out. And I'll say his weakness, though, it seems to be is takedowns. His one loss was a guy who took him down for basically 3 rounds and exhausted him. And we saw Poirier against Sasaki. He kind of did that against Sasaki, taking him down. What do you, especially with the cage now? We now have a cage. We don't have a ring anymore. That's up. Both have experiences in the cage as well. With UFC, with a Poirier, and also Pancreas as well. They're both Pancreas fighters as well. Keep that in mind. I'm actually surprised that they did not decide to book this for Pancreas for some reason. Instead, Rizin is booking it for their show. So, but do you think so? What do you think are Nakata's best chances of winning this fight, if there's any, in your opinion? Oh, CJ?
I'm sorry. I'm at a little audio issue. What do you say?
Oh, sorry. I was just saying, how do you think Nakata's chances are in winning this? What does he got to do to win this to get the biggest win of his career, if there's anything?
Well, I mean, he can win it, but he doesn't seem like a super dynamic finisher to me. And he's just going to have to show something he hasn't shown before. He's going to have to show that he's grown, that he's evolved, and he's ready for this level of competition. I mean, this is not just rising, but Poirier is the highest caliber opponent he's ever faced. So he's really going to have to rise to the occasion.
It's really like a step up, an insane step up.
A really big step up, yeah. Perfect way to say it.
It's not, I think the Kinoshita Sumimura, I can definitely see Kinoshita winning that. But this is like, Poirier is legitimately possibly Rizin's best featherweight at this point. That's at least going to be fighting for the championship, I think, down the line. Michael Collins says that he thinks that Poirier will win, probably by submission. Shoki says. And he also predicted before that after this, he thinks that there's going to be a featherweight Grand Prix. I think the same thing. I think also Sakakibara said the same thing as well, because he said it's
yes.
And he thinks Poirier versus Hagiwara will happen next year.
Well,
that was somebody else said that. Yosuke Michael Gassner.
I'm sorry, but I think your plans are about to be. I mean, you know what they say about the best laid plans? They always go to waste. I think that Mr. Nakata is going to waste Poirier.
It's a very tough fight to pick. I think Poirier is good. I think that Nakata is good, but the question is he good? Is he good enough to beat Poirier? And like you say, Tamura just one of those guys who's just like throw, and like he gets knocked out or he gets knocked down. I mean, I could also see this kind of like going all 3 rounds, kind of where like Poirier kind of puts a beating on him if Nakata doesn't fight smart, if he does not realize who he's up against. I also think this fight was also done on short notice. I think, didn't Shu say that as well? That this was a short notice fight?
I believe so. And I mean, speaking of that, I think it's a good, unrelated to this fight. But before I forget, Keitaro was supposed to be on this fight, on this card.
As in Yuta Hokumura?
Yes, he was supposed to be on this card, and Kentaro got injured. And I think he said so in one of his own YouTube videos. So it looks like they were trying to have one other really big fight on it. But I just wanted to bring that up before I forgot about it.
It does, would make sense. You're doing a show in the Kansai region. Why not have? I actually didn't think about that. I was like, oh, why is he not in this card? I guess I figured maybe in Kobe, maybe for Osaka shows, they would have Keitaro.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
If he was on the card, I mean, he'd be one of the most popular, probably the most popular guy on the card, right? He'd be in the main event, probably. Yeah, exactly.
So it's interesting that, I don't know who the initial, Shu said originally one of his clients was supposed to face PA. I don't know who that could be. He's got a ton of featherweights under on his management. So Nakata maybe taking this fight under short notice as well, like relative short notice is like a fighter that Poirier is. It's a very tough fight to pick. You know what? We got 2 for Poirier. Let's balance it out. I'm gonna say Nakata. Let's make it interesting.
There we go.
Make it 2 for Poirier for Nakata. Though I don't know if there's gonna be a finish in this fight. I think These two are well-rounded fighters. I think Jorge probably is the better fighter though overall. But if Nakata has trained enough with Osawa, if he's got Osawa in his corner, listen, that's gotta be some sort of good luck charm, right? That's gotta be something there. Plus also, yeah, and then
Andrew, what you're basically saying is you're going against our boy?
No, I said I'm picking him. I'm picking him for the sake of argument. I think it'd be interesting. So 2 for Nakata, 2 for Jorge.
I guess the outcome got to be the tiebreaker, right?
Yeah, here we go. Is Drew still there or did we lose Drew? Uh-oh, we lost Drew.
Well, that sucks.
Uh-oh.
But
hey, well, we're on the main event. We're still live?
Out of it for like the last hour or two.
So okay, so we're still live right now. We're still recording on the.
Yeah, it says live on YouTube.
Okay. Oh, he's joining back in right now. Okay, here we go.
Always being dramatic, making a dramatic appearance.
So you want to go ahead and talk about the main event before we completely shut down and buffer?
Yeah, let's talk about the main event.
Dropped out of the last fight of the card.
You want to take over, Christian? As you're eating something?
Yeah, he's eating dinner. It's just you and me, CJ.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about Shoji versus Hagiwara.
Let's talk about that. Shoji Maruyama, the samurai, versus Kyohei Hagiwara, the high fighter. And by high fighter, I think y'all know what I'm talking about.
He is pretty tall.
He's from a smoker gym too?
Yeah, he is.
I mean, the dude was coming out to Snoop Dogg and Dr. Dre if he wasn't.
Yes.
But yeah, let's take a.
So, gentlemen, yeah.
Is Drew back?
He was temporarily back. I don't know if he's back again.
I mean, let's analyze this real quick. Yeah. Shoji is more experienced compared to Kyohei Hagiwara, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, that's what it says. It says on Tapology, so Shoji is number 7, and Hagiwara is not ranked.
Shoji's been fighting for a long time.
Hagiwara was from he was on an Epic Rizin before. Remember him? He was a good action fighter. That's why he's in the main event.
Well, he was at the last Landmark show. He fought Mikuru in the Landmark show.
We didn't even get to see the Landmark show, but the one before that.
You guys didn't get to see the Landmark show. Yeah. I enjoyed it thoroughly.
CJ, how awesome was the fight? I heard it was a good fight too. I heard there was pride rules and everything in that bout.
Well, his fight was the worst fight just because the other 3 fights were all like insane finishes.
Oh.
But yeah. But you'll never get to see Imanari ripping a man's arm to pieces or Shuto Watanabe landing another magical choke and then crying as he asked for Hikaru to also fight in Rizin. You've missed out on all the great moments.
Oh man, I'm jealous. We still want to see that. Hopefully, if the international audience gets access to the next Landmark shows on Live Now or something, then they'll also you give us a package deal where we can, get the first 4, the first Landmark series event. So hopefully something like that happens.
If that event told me anything, is that Hagiwara's wrestling absolutely sucks. And if Shoji tries to take Hagiwara down and is successful, he has a good chance of winning. But Hagiwara is a pretty good brawler and has some good punches. If he hits him, he could finish it. But I think Shoji might try to grapple this one just because, Mikuru literally just pushed him over at times. It wasn't even legitimate takedown attempt.
Well, that's what happened with his first fight, Hagiwara's first fight in Rizin. The guy kept on taking him down. I think it was Dark Shirakawa.
Your favorite. You think it's your favorite fighter. You remember it vividly.
Yeah. Well, I remember because he got knocked out immediately. Michael Collins says this will be about 110 seconds of violence before Shoji goes for a leg lock. Either he gets KO'd or gets a good shot to finish. I don't know. I hope that if Shoji is smart, he will not go for a leg lock.
Don't you dare say that. Why are you putting all these awful ideas into the ether?
You would do that all night, Drew.
I didn't say it. Michael Collins said that.
Doesn't Shoji have one of the fastest knockouts in JMMA on record from 15 years ago?
Does he? It wasn't
He does
fried,
like
was
5 seconds, right? I think it was like 5 seconds for maybe like one of like pancreas or something. Somebody
it
in the
was
chat will
about
know.
4 or 5 seconds per pancreas, like 15 years ago.
Huh. Well,
Um,
that's probably why he's in the main event this time. They're hoping he brings some more of that action. So
I gotta say though, I'm really looking forward to this fight. I think this fight's gonna be a lot of fun. I was hoping though it would be
That's a
Connie.
3-second flying knee. Holy shit.
yeah,
That
that
means
was
bell
it.
rings. He had to go for it immediately. There was no glove touch. That's how. That's I'm disappointed though that they didn't do Kanehara versus Hagiwara after Kanehara gave him the finger.
Oh, come on, Kanehara just fought like 2 weeks ago. Give the man a break.
Drew wants him back in there right away.
Drew's like, throw him back in. You're not done yet.
Hey, listen, you give the finger to a fighter, saying you're like, and Hagiwara apparently said during like commentary, like, I don't know why he's giving me the finger. I never said anything about him. It was like totally like unwarranted. And if you watch the Rise of Confessions video,
That's the best type of middle finger, the unwarranted middle finger.
That means it was real. It wasn't staged.
I mean, does it overtake Shinya Aoki flicking off the guy after he broke his arm? Maybe.
That was the pinnacle of the middle fingers.
Maybe the best middle
Nothing will ever
finger.
top that.
I mean, this fight's gonna be great. I don't see this fight being a boring fight at all. I think this fight's gonna be so exciting. I think, you know, if it's not doesn't get finished in the first round, I think it's gonna be 3 rounds of awesomeness. You got your little Hagiwara poster, landmark poster there, CJ. I could tell you're already on the Hagiwara smoker gym
Exactly.
hype train. Listen,
I'm actually more on the Shuto Watanabe train, who is in a tiny picture right here. So
listen, I'll say this about Hagiwara. Like, this guy was like fighting like no shit regionals in like Osaka. It was like 2-4 or 1 and whatever number it was, like you go by, and like comes to Rizin, wins his first fight. Shit talks Ren Hiramoto, has an awesome fight with Ren Hiramoto in his Rizin debut. And then he stomps the guy in one of his other. Remember, he knocked the guy out, was like gonna stomp his face like right before the referee like stopped.
Yes.
And so like give him a guy like who was like on the regional scene at one point, and like maybe would like have no, like, it's great to see a guy who's like who embraces kind of like just that trash bag MMA personality. And I think he does that the best in JMMA. I don't know if there's like another one who has like dirt bag like vibes, but I get it from him. And I love that about him. That's what I love about Hagiwara.
Drew, I love the way you hype these fights, bro.
Oh no, and like also just from a perspective, like he goes from like Osaka, like fighting in these and just like shitty regionals and like in front of 20 people, and now he's like fighting in Rise. He's fought in Rise how many times? Like about 3 or 4. I think this is his second fight this year. He's already fought in thousands of people. Like clearly, like he is made for the big stage, and he's now verified on Instagram as well. So,
oh no, it's definitely big time.
So he's made it.
Oh yeah, no, you just need a YouTube channel now. Actually, over under, CJ, how many of these fighters do you think say I want to fight on New Year's, and how many say I have a YouTube channel? Over under.
All of them.
All of them. I have a YouTube channel. I want to be on New Year's. All of them.
All of them.
Yeah, because everybody does. Everybody wants on that New Year's mega card.
Well, here's the here's the great.
Don't throw the word mega around loosely. Mega has
that's
yet to
right.
happen.
Floyd Mayweather might sue somebody.
Yeah. The great thing about Shoji is, here's the thing: if he wins, you know that in the Rise of Confessions video, when Momoko wins, she's gonna see Shoji in the back, and she's gonna be like, "I'm Omedeto Shoji," and he's just gonna like push her to the side to go see.
Where's Kai? Where's Kai?
He's gonna push this 100-pound girl just to go to Mikaru to be so they can make a YouTube video. You seen that video, Christian and Jay, where on the show that Panchan was on, Reina was on, and Shoji got that quick knockout. Shoji just like totally ignores Panchan, like trying to like she extends her hand to like congratulate him, and he just like totally like, ignors her. He's a non-entity.
Completely blew past.
You know what?
He's so cute.
I have not seen that. I have not seen.
when
It's
CJ
hilarious.
described-
It's almost as good as the disgusted round girl looking at Daisuke Nakamura.
So like here's the thing, it wasn't like she was like all the way over there. She is next to him, and there's no way he could have not missed her. And the way CJ described it, I was like, you know what, it can't be that bad. It's like, wow. Like that's
I
like
laughed
that's
so
like
hard when I first saw it. She's like, ah! He's just like, like swim
it's
move.
like douchebag energy. That's like douchebag move. That's like douchebag. That's like douchebag energy right there from Shoji. No offense to Shoji.
Hey,
but
you never know though. He might have a girlfriend. He doesn't want to piss off. Like you don't want to be seen, getting friendly with Pantarina right there on camera. His girlfriend might get pissed off at that. Who knows? There could be all kinds of stuff, or it could be part of his act to just diss her, do the swim move right over, like CJ was saying.
So I don't know if this is the real Sean O'Malley from UFC, but he says Shoji fought Jose Aldo and Pancras. That's true. That's actually true. That's how long he's been fighting.
Vet.
And Michael Collins also says he legit saw Shoji get choked out by Aya Miura in a YouTube video along with his boy Jiri Ohara.
You mean Ayaka Miura? Yeah.
Ayaka is that Ayaka? I think he meant to say Ayaka. He wrote Aya.
Yeah.
So maybe he means Ayaka Miura.
Ayaka Miura's choked out tons of people. Yeah, she's awesome.
Hashi-
Shoji is like, there's like a joke in Japan that he like is everywhere because he like appears on everybody's YouTube channel. Like he collaborates with everybody. So like he pops up with Kai, he pops up with Osawa, he pops up with Panchan, he pops up with everybody. So he seems quite popular.
Hafid asks, what do you guys think of the keys to the victory content? So these are like those little 1 minute video snippets that Rizin will say like, oh, for this person to win.
Why do I feel like Hafid is involved in the keys to the victory content?
Okay, well, I like them. I think they're interesting.
Yeah.
Is he talking about the ones that are on the official? Oh, go ahead, CJ. Go ahead. What were we gonna say?
I love all their content.
Yeah.
I think it's interesting. It's so much more different than like UFC stuff. Like UFC will have like one occasional like great, backstage. Probably the best video they ever made was like the whole Conor McGregor throwing that was like the most interesting they ever made because it was just like interesting stories just in general and just like craziness. For the most part, they're kind of like not interesting. The fighters are like in this like gym, I assume. They were just like in a random gym and they just go like, they just say like whatever they want to say.
Is the keys to the victory just like really similar to that Japanese post they have, like called the Charlie Guide?
I think what he's talking about, on the official Rizin Twitter, the Rizin English Twitter, they tweet out sometimes they have these graphics with the fight. The fight.
They have videos now. There's a keys to victory video that was like 1:41 minutes about Rena and Miyu.
Oh, is that what he's talking about? Okay.
I like them. Yeah, I like them. It'll be cool if we got them for like, especially the fights that are like not just like I don't think they did it for I think for the last show they only did it for Rainer and Miyu if I remember correctly. They didn't do it for the other ones. So
yeah, they only did it for them, but they also did the crazy Koji, like these are the groupies that I hang out with video, which was awesome.
I told you he did say he was gonna do that. I knew he was gonna bang some groupies after some Okinawan hoes after he was gonna.
That's the only way to win.
That's how you really win. I think also they had Seta Kubo singing at a fan event. So I want more of that, please. All of that.
Yeah. So if you want to know, yes, we do love the keys to victory. We also love Sarah Kubo singing. So if you can do like just videos devoted to Sarah Kubo's illustrious vocal.
I mean, if we could make a dream video, what's in the video? Is it Tokoro porn? Like maybe have like Tokoro's porn corner where he just talks about his collection. Then have Seta Kubo sing a song for the intermission. And yeah, I'd be happy.
Here's the thing I like the newest. I like the weigh-ins that they did for the last Rizin 32, where they were just like showing the weigh-in stare-offs.
Yeah.
I really love that. That was really cool because we don't see that a lot for like weigh-ins. You get kind of just see the fighters side by side, whatever. But I love like the little edited highlight they did of like the fighters just looking at them and trying to think of what are they thinking and like what is it that's going through their mind. I really like that a lot. And especially if you can have like fighters like a Kyoei Hagawara, who you know is going to talk some shit at the weigh-ins or something like that. I want to see, I definitely want to see more of that stuff. Well, I forgot what they called it, but it was like the weigh-in highlights or something. That was really cool. I really thought that was a really cool thing.
Yeah, the more content, the better. All their content's awesome. The Keys to Victory content, like he was asking about, is awesome. Those videos you guys talking about, the confession series. I mean, all their content that they put out for us is awesome. And look at your guys' content's awesome too. Your guys' podcasts and CJ's articles and everything. I mean, dude, I love your guys' content. I mean, the more epic Rizin content, the better.
You know what, Jay? Thank you for kissing our ass.
That's not because you're having me on this awesome podcast right here. I genuinely like it.
Sorry, on. I'm getting back up in the chat. Okay, I'm getting a lot. Okay, okay, how was Rizin not signed Big Joe? Big Joe versus Sudario submission match.
I don't want to watch Big Joe get killed.
Sudario burst him.
Jamie says Shoji had a crazy fight with Duho Choi and Deep, who is now in UFC. Duho Choi,
nice,
nearly knocked him out. Nice. Code Day is also complimenting the Rizin YouTube stuff. Is that all? Is that also from the Rizin TikTok? I don't have TikTok.
Yeah,
so if anybody
me either. I haven't even seen that, so I don't know about TikTok either.
I don't. If anybody knows about TikTok more than me, by all means, feel free to sound off in the chat. Unfortunately, I can't tell your name, but you say hi very much. Hi back to you, sir. You look like you're from Japan. Thank you very much for getting up early to talk to us. Kome Day says big attendance tonight for this stream. Yes. Who would have thought Rizin Trigger would bring out the folks of all things. Red blue corner stuff is awesome. Michael Collins says, yes, that's also, I like that stuff as well. Kobe Day says, CJ, why does Shingo go by Charles in those Japanese reviews?
I do not know. And it causes me so much grief because
what is he talking about?
Friends are like, what?
Well, can you explain what he's talking about? I'm not so sure what he's talking about.
Yeah, there's a bunch of Rizin content and like kind of like the previews to the fights on their social media page. They call it the Charlie Guide. And I go by Charlie amongst my friends, and all of my wife's friends are like, holy shit, like we knew you liked MMA, but you're writing all these guides for Rizin. And I'm like, no, that is not me. There's another guy that goes by Charlie. It's Shingo. And interestingly, I think Shingo once tweeted his name is the name of the guy that got killed in Bloodsport. The guy's son. That's son. Why Jean-Claude. That's why Jean-Claude is in the tournament. And he's talking about like how sad the movie made him because Shingo died.
It was a Bloodsport, baby.
Yeah, exactly.
I think Shingo's also the guy who's on the Rizin Reddit thing, but everybody thinks he's an intern. So it's like now he's like now the gimmick. Everybody calls him like
person. He's like, it seems like he's Sakakibara's translator when he goes to the US. Yeah. And he like does a lot of their content. He probably sleeps 1 hour a day.
Let's put it this way. Shingo Kashiwagi, who has fought as a professional mixed martial artist before, he's the Rizin everyman. He's like the Rizin handyman, to be honest.
Yeah, but to answer that guy's question, I have no idea why he goes by Charlie. But I think he and I need to have a duel, like loser leaves town kind of match.
Yeah. Whoever wins gets to have the Charlie name.
Yeah. Michael Collins says, one day Yuta, I think he's referring to Yuta Kubo, ordered 3 Domino's pizzas without knowing. Terrifying stuff. Is that a joke or something? I'm not so sure. Is there a joke behind that? Is there CJ, you're the biggest Yuta Kubo fan.
Is that like a brain damage reference? Is he saying that he ordered pizza? Is this like GSP? I woke up and there were groceries, so aliens abducted me kind of comment? Like, is he saying that Yuta has CTE or something?
He definitely doesn't. I don't think he has CTE at this point. He might be getting simped and cut, but I don't think he's. I don't think he has
CTE than being simped and cucked, but okay.
Michael Collins says, "We are Rizin, Sogu Kaku, and CJ plus Shoe podcast is awesome stuff. Thank you so much, sir."
Oh, thank you.
And
kissing our ass.
Michael Collins says
and TJ's as well.
Michael Collins says that Shingo doesn't sleep; he just exists.
I think he manually puts in all the subtitles for those
I think
Rising
so
confession
too.
videos too.
I don't know if you're still here, have feed as well. If you know, it'd be cool as well if there was some sort. I know it would probably be a lot more time-consuming stuff, but I definitely would love to see like on the training videos, maybe not even the full training, like preparation. I think they call them like the Rizin whatever preparation things. Maybe just like some highlights and English subtitles. Because I think there's some good stuff on those things. When you especially have like talkers like Hagiwara, Koji, that would like really like be some memorable stuff. Or with champions as well. If you just want to do like the champions or the main event, I think that's fine. But I also would love to, I want to see Kome Day says CTE via cucking.
It's not nice. Leave Kubo alone. They're my favorite gimmick now.
I would just like to see also a lot of stuff on the guys who are like on the bottom of the card.
Wait, do you think he's getting cucked by his monkey? Is that too far? Is that too far? Apologize.
I would love to see. I would love to see
You're
more
your
stuff.
press pass poll doing that.
Yeah, I don't think we're getting any more translations anymore now with the help of Shingo. I think we're gonna we'll get to become We Are One now. We're gonna become the We Are One.
Oh my God, no! I absolutely refuse.
Yeah, no.
Not in other news, the tournament has completely fallen apart, and somehow Ritu Fogat is going to get murdered by Angela Lee.
We got this tournament that was supposed to be entirely built around Stan Fairtex, and she's not in the tournament anymore. So now this Filipino lady that nobody knows is now gonna win the tournament.
See that, and that's a prime example of why tournaments need to be in one night, or at least like Epic Rising and Pride did, where they had the final in one night. So that's just another example of why one night tournaments are king.
Well, I'll also say this. I'll say that I'm also happy that Rizin at least does Hafid, this is for you as well, does get engagement with the fans through either Reddit, social media, what you're doing now. So we've had Shingo pop up on here. So it is something that's like very much appreciated, because there are so many things that I want this promotion to be successful with. And the fact that you're listening, actually, that means, if there's anything that I would badly beg, is to please give us the landmark shows, please, somehow, whatever, however you can.
Just give us access. We're willing to pay. We have money to pay for them. We don't mind.
Or actually, I told Drake this when that, listen, if you next could just have some way to allow international, because that's the problem with a lot of Japanese subscriptions, is that they don't allow international cards. They're banned for whatever reason. Now, CJ, I don't know if you know about that. When you first went to Japan and you tried to buy something and
oh yeah, it's almost impossible. You and I remember the old days where like shows happening in Japan, you're just like, I guess I'll read about this on MMA Rising or on a Wikipedia page or something. Like streams just didn't exist. There was always like some stupid thing where it was, use your Japanese credit card to buy points, and then you can exchange these points for credits to get your event. It's like a giant clusterfuck of a system.
Yeah. So, and I know that actually Dragon Gate does the same thing as well. They're with their own, or they used to, through like, I don't know, one of those weird Nico. That was what it was. Nico. And I tried to figure this out. Like, so wait, I had to buy points, and like the points, like, and like it just like, oh, my head was like, so yeah, like if Next would even just allow the ability for us to use like our international cards, because that's the main thing, is that like a lot of these things. I actually tried to buy the Knockout show from on Halloween weekend, and it said this card is not recognized, or whatever it was. The translation was Japanese, and I was like, well, what do I do then? So I mean, they did upload them on YouTube, so I guess there was that. But I would have been happy to watch it live, at 2 a.m. or 3 a.m., whatever Knockout does.
Yeah, dude, just do it. Like Daniel was reporting. Daniel Zabecki was reporting that they're possibly in talks with Live Now to stream the landmark events for us as well for international audiences. I mean, dude, that's totally fine. I totally would pay, I got the bundle for this most recent one with Rizin 32 and Rizin Trigger. I would totally pay for a bundle for, Rizin Landmark with the Rizin number
I don't know
series.
why. I don't know why Unext. I don't know if it's in Unext, if they think that like if they open up to international people, like that somehow like hurts them, whatever. There's always been that weird thing with Japanese companies where like
this. I would.
You know what,
my
Andrew?
theory is I think they're
Hold
worried about like.
Hold on, one at a time. CJ, go first, and then you, Christian.
I think I don't think they want to deal with legal stuff like copyrights and other laws for other countries. So I think they're keeping it. They're probably just keeping it in the country.
Gotcha. Christian, what were you gonna say?
And I mean, come to think of it, when it comes down to, Charlie, you probably already know this by now. When it comes down to some Japanese companies, they think about, what the future would have been like from a 1995 perspective. Here we are in 2021, and we now think that their way of thinking about the future is very, very outdated. So basically what we're trying to see from them now is what they're trying to isolate from us, the international audience. And the more and more we keep demanding that, the more and more they'll just, be forced to cave in.
I hope so. If we've seen, stuff
during the last event, the Unext servers crashed. So, I mean,
and they started
wouldn't have been equipped to deal with an international load as it is.
But and I think they actually started the show later.
Because the servers crashed.
Michael Collins says 1 year the G1 Climax in 2009 was on Ustream for about $250. I remember the Ustream years, Michael. That and the what was it? The
didn't I think Deep and Deep Jewels like briefly used Ustream and then they're like, screw it, taking it away.
Or Justin Video, whatever it became after that.
And then Deep had one event on Fight TV, but still had all the dubbed over music and shit.
You didn't like the repetitive same theme song they used and they muted it out?
I love those two themes. I love them. That would, I would love to hear somebody rise and just come out to that theme, just to like.
Somebody came out to the Pancrase theme at the last event.
Yeah, and then who came out to the Pride theme?
I noticed that. And they also came out to an Ayaka Nakamura. Naomi Nakamura song. Damn, why can't I get the name right?
But yeah, that's the one. I guess if there's any we do love the video content. It's really interesting stuff because especially these fighters are just. We learn so much about them. I think CJ, you mentioned that that's why a lot of people connect with them, or at least the ones who have personality, they connect with them more because they're like, okay, this person has a quirk or something. Or this person is just kind of like a mother of two and she's fighting, like Sayori Oshima. So you definitely make the video content makes it so interesting. I'm not so sure how we got from Shoji to Kyoi Hagiwara, but I'm just gonna say Hagiwara in case if we didn't give picks because I had some internet hiccups.
Okay, can we not call what fighters have as quirks? This ain't My Hero Academia.
Okay, if you're a fan.
Drew, I want to also say, since we were talking about the Unext, remember they just partnered with Bellator. And next week's Bellator with Pettis and Gucci 2 belts, that's going to be on Unext for Japan.
That is Mafia nickname, Gucci 2 belts.
Yeah, Gucci 2 belts. That's Jay Krish came up with that. That for Kyoji Horiguchi's nickname is Gucci 2 belts. That's a Jay Krish special right there. But the Bellator event that's going to be on Unext. So maybe that partnership, maybe they'll do something where international fans, since there's a Bellator partnership, maybe to try to tap into the Bellator audience or something, they'll start offering it, like you were saying, Drew, to offer international fans the ability to purchase or something.
If they for Bellator, I totally understand why if they have to block it out for global whatever because it's running on Showtime and you can't have whatever. I understand that. But to me, the Rizin show other than the music stuff, which is easy to take care of, if you have a correct audio engineer. I just don't see what the international legal things would be like that. It's not like, it's not like, where Fuji that whole weird thing with like Fuji TV and all that stuff. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Will there be, I'm curious to know, CJ, will there be a way to find out how much people buy or subscribe for Bellator through you next?
I don't know. You'd have to find out probably through one of the managers of the fighter on the card or something, just because they'll probably find out how much it was.
I mean, here's the thing. I can assume it'll do good because if they have Horiguchi, I mean, he's on the poster for the Japanese poster. He's the only one on there, so and he's looking over a destroyed, I think, New York City. So
no, it's a reference to the Bellator in Japan card. It's the opposite.
Yes.
The Bellator in Japan card, there was the Statue of Liberty looking at Tokyo. And for the Horiguchi one, it's him looking at New York, I believe.
Yep, absolutely. Yep, CJ's correct. Great posters. And I love Sakaki Barasan's little update to it where he put the belt on Kyoji's shoulder for the updated photo. I don't know if you guys saw that. Because the original one just had Kyoji and no belt, but then Sakaki Bara, he posted a brand new one where it had the Epic Rizin belt on Kyoji's, over Kyoji's shoulder, and it made the picture just look even cooler. So
I'll say this, Hafid, if you're still here, I myself love the Rizin posters. I don't know what everybody else thinks here. I think the Rizin posters, some of them are really cool. Like,
absolutely.
I'm obviously not a fan.
Yeah.
Yeah, CJ don't like him at all. Yeah. He's only
I just like every poster is stylized differently. And like also like I remember like for Sakura season, they would have some of the posters look like,
Cherry
Sakura,
blossoms.
colors. Actually underrated poster this year, the deep one where everybody was dressed up in suits and ties.
They all looked like gangsters. That was awesome.
Yes. Yes. Those are really cool. And listen, I really like if there's a way I could ever get a Rizin poster, I don't know which one I would get. It would probably be the one with I think it was the New Year's one with Jiri and Kyoji when they fought. I think it was
a lot of the posters at their physical location.
Oh yeah. By the way, also Rizin has a store in Roppongi, I think it is, or Shibuya.
Yeah, Roppongi. You can see a bunch of Ferraris drive by. It's in a super rich neighborhood.
Oh yeah.
Hey, CJ, are they selling extra large or double extra large clothes yet? I want to get some.
No, absolutely not. I do not fit Rising apparel. I own a Rising jumpsuit that I cannot wear.
Well, what would that size be in Japanese sizes? That would be like a equivalent of. Okay, so it's like medium.
What's your US size?
So
double extra large.
So you'd be like a quadruple extra large over here.
They would have to hand make it for you. They would have to hand make it for you. So Hafid, if you ever see the Rizin seamstress who makes the shirts, you're gonna have to when JayWolf has to order a shirt, it's gonna have to be specially tailored for him.
That's right. I need a special custom made one.
And also make sure also that the charge is extra because she'll probably have to work overtime.
I mean, how do the sumo wrestlers get their clothes over there? Those guys are huge. I mean,
yeah, but
they should have some big and tall stores.
They have to wear traditional clothing most of the time, so they wear like yukatas and kimonos.
Oh, so they're not around.
If you remember, the one Egyptian sumo wrestler actually got fired from sumo for driving a car. The guy that was in Rizin.
What car could fit a guy that size? I'm very disappointed also to know that this show is not sponsored by Plus Weed, even though Hagiwara is the main event. I'm very disappointed that Plus.
They're only landmark.
Dude, this show ain't sponsored by anybody. This show is unsullied by sponsorship, as the folks on TNT say.
I'm disappointed though. I wish we, since Hagiwara, you have Fujiwara, you have two smoker gyms, and there's no the CBD companies like no, they're sitting this one out. I wonder why.
They're dumb. I mean, dude, like I said, this is a historic event, bro. This is the first time in history since the original UFC that this awesome a rule set is allowed in a cage. This has never been done before. And it's historic, and I cannot wait for this. And you're right, there should be a sponsor. Landmark was probably the exclusive sponsor with that Plus Weed company. They should have had one for Trigger. I mean, Dude, it was named Trigger. Should have like a
Assault
gun
rifles?
sponsor,
No, but
like a AR-15 sponsorship or something like that. You know, some big time gun sponsor, because they call it Trigger. You know, this is just spitballing there, throwing out ideas.
Are there any gun stores in Tokyo or Japan? I don't think there's any.
no.
Even up north.
It's insanely hard to buy a gun in Japan.
Guns have been banned there since the 70s.
Oh, okay. Hafid says the shirts only go up to 1XL. Sorry, Jay.
Yeah.
Oh man, that'd be like a midriff on me.
Yeah. But I actually have to go. I have to go to YK Sports Academy and interview Seika Izawa. So
Okay, before you go, CJ, if you want to just give thoughts on any fights that you're looking forward to the most.
what am I looking forward to the most?
Yes.
I mean, co-main event to me is the fight with the most stakes. I think the winner of the co-main event could possibly become a big star in the future.
Mm-hmm.
And the co-main event and the main event are above, I mean, literally and realistically above all the other fights on this card. They're kind of different level of fighters. And the winner of the co-main, I mean, if Poirier wins, I think he's on track to become a big star. So that's what I'm interested in.
Absolutely. So CJ, sorry, we didn't mean to take up so much of your time talking about blood and all that shit. Please enjoy YNK Academy.
Thank you.
Hey, CJ, it was an honor being on the podcast with you, brother. I love your content too.
And by the way, CJ, can you please promote Sogukaku and your show? You Hirata one last time.
Sogo-kaku.com. Wrote some articles about Rena, and we're producing some videos now. Seika Izawa, next week is Sao Yoshima. So that should be fun. And then I have a podcast with Shu Hirata. Just go to his Twitter. We talk a lot about random stuff. So it should be fun. I think that's everything.
Okay.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. It was nice meeting you as well, JayWolf. And,
yes, thanks, brother. It was good talking with you.
How can people contact you on social media quickly?
Me?
Yes,
yes.
I'm on Twitter and on Instagram. Just go to my website, Sogo-kaku. It has links to everything on there.
Okay, he's gotta go. Let him go, guys. He's gotta talk to MMA fighters. Take care, CJ.
Bye.
Jay, which three fights are you looking forward to the most on Rizin Trigger the first?
Well, just piggyback off of what CJ said, that the main event and the co-main event are going to be absolute bangers. And they also, I want to make a point, because they're both featherweight fights, right? And we were talking about a potential Grand Prix coming up. And also, since there's that whole Unix Bellator partnership that's happening, what I would like is an international Grand Prix in the featherweight division, because that is a division across the world that is very deep in talent. I mean, there is talent. There's a plethora of talent in the featherweight division, and just imagine how much fun an international Grand Prix, like an international mega Grand Prix, 32-man Grand Prix with Bellator fighters and Rizin fighters. They can do the combined events where since Trigger's in a cage, they can do joint events where they have one round is on a Rizin show, another round for the Bellator fighters on a Bellator show. Then it culminates at the end of the year like a New Year's Eve Grand Prix mega event between a joint event with Bellator and Rizin again, to the culmination of the international mega Grand Prix. How much fun would that be, dude? I hope something like that happens. And what they were saying is that they're thinking about a featherweight Grand Prix. Maybe these two fights, the co-main and main event, could be like like qualifying to get to be for the Grand Prix in the future. So it's going to be pretty cool. And then for the other one that I'd be really excited to see, pretty much all the mixed martial arts fights, I'm hyped for, because like I said, this event is historic. This is the first time in the cage that's going to be full contact. Okay. Since the original UFC, this is going to be so much fun. I just can't wait to tune in with you guys. And I hope the fans have a good time too. And they tune in with us. It's going to be awesome. So I guess for the third one, I'll pick a kickboxing bout, a J kick bout. I'm going to pick the hot girl bout with the women's kickboxing. I think that one's going to be pretty fun. CJ, he was the authority on the deep jewels and the Japanese women's mixed martial arts. He knows everything about them. He was saying that fight's going to be pretty cool. So Yeah, I'm looking forward to that one, and then the of course the main and co-main, and then pretty much every mixed martial arts bout. Because like I said, this is historic. Prior the epic Rizin superior rule set in a cage. The first time, this is the most hardcore it's ever been in the cage since the original UFC. It just doesn't get any better than this. I cannot wait to tune in with you guys. It's going to be so much fun.
Christian, how about you? 3 fights that you're looking forward to.
Well, you obviously got me on here. Well, I obviously got on here a little late just to even, fully talk about these fights. So I guess aside from our boys, Nakata and Bogdano fighting against respective different opponents, of course, I guess the only other bout I'm really looking forward to, outside the Mando Koros fighting at the beginning of the card is Tepari. No, wait, actually it's Tepari versus Hiroto Ichimura. Obviously, Tepari being the former WBA World Super Flyweight Champion in boxing. But obviously, as far as the main event goes, we're all picking Haki War. But still, I think this fight's going to be a fight that's not going to make it to the judges.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Oh, I agree.
And as far as the rest of the card is concerned, whether it's our boys fighting or the Mando Koros fighting or just anybody really with two hands and a fighting chance, as some, child diddler once said. I mean, point of the matter is, I do think that when it comes down to this particular fight card, you're going to get, I hate to basically make a pun off a pun, but you're going to get total nonstop action. And not like that wrestling promotion. But you're going to get nonstop action from bell to bell inside the steel cage. And I don't know how many sides it's going to be. If it's going to be circular, 5-sided, 6-sided, hopefully not 8-sided, because the UFC will, have a fit. But
just do 12 sides. Go for the dozen.
Oh yeah, go for the WSOF Decagon. But the point of the matter is, as people are plopping down $30 just to see this for the 2-fight card package, or $25 just to see it on Live Now, which of course, if you're watching the event, it'll be on live-now.com. So be sure to check it out tomorrow night in 26 hours, by the way, as we're doing this right now. In 26 hours, which the event will happen at midnight Eastern, 11 Central, 9 Pacific.
Because is that 9 Pacific again? Nice.
So here's the thing. Never noticed that Live Now always gives the wrong times, like until the day of. They said like 9 p.m. for the last show, and the one before that they said 10 p.m. Like, I don't know, like if they have no idea what's going on, but like they always get the time.
Drew, it was my fault last time. They had the right date on the Live Now and the Rizin stuff. I was just thinking that it was on Saturday, so I was looking at for the date on the weekend, and I just assumed that it was on Saturday. That's where that
no, but the time was wrong. They had it at 9 p.m. initially. I have no idea why. And the countdown was to like 9 p.m. and then they changed the day up. And I was like, and because I wrote up the preview for MMA Sucker, and I'm like 9 p.m. That seems extremely early, but whatever. I went with it, and then like they changed it to late. The next day, I was like, fuck.
The counters, the Live Now counter will update as it's getting closer to the event. I don't know if you've noticed that, but sometimes the counter will be off, and then all of a sudden it'll switch and it'll update it to where it's the right amount of time counting down.
Right. But the point of the matter, what I'm trying to say is that I'm pretty sure that regardless of how the action goes, hopefully for one, there'll be no boring fights on this card, because each fight is, total nonstop action stacked from bell to bell. But I just hope that every fight on this card will make people want to actually believe that Rizin, even though people might not like this, I mean, I was pretty skeptical at first when it was first announced, But still, I just hope that people can enjoy, if they love this event so much, I hope that people can enjoy watching Rizin compete more in the ring and a cage, on these crossover shows like you mentioned, JayWolf. I hope people
Yes.
can. I hope people can put some respect on Rizin's name.
They will. Don't even trip, bro. Next year, after this New Year's Eve, they said they're Daniel Duzbecki's tweet reported that they're going to have international fans back. I mean, international fighters, full capacity. I mean, dude, 20 fight card, full mega card. I mean, that's, dude. And the next year, 2022, after that happens on New Year's Eve, the international fighters will be back. The shows are going to be so stacked again. They have a partnership with Bellator. They're going to have Bellator fighters go over there. Patricky Pitbull, the new lightweight Bellator champion, he's already fought and he loves fighting for Epic Rizin in Japan. We already know that. He's already mentioned that. He talks about it all the time on Twitter still, about how he loves his time in Japan. He's going to want to come back and fight. And that's just one example. And then look at, dude, Sakaki Barasan is such a fantastic scout. And, dude, they found Jiri Prochazka and Vadim Nemkov. Those guys are though they were forged in the Epic Rizin Superior Rule Set Crucible. That's where they were forged. That's how they became superstar fighters, okay? And, dude, it's going to come back. So, Jay Krish, don't even trip, brother. As soon as this COVID crap is over with, dude, it's going to be so much fun. I cannot wait. And if people tune in, hopefully, they should buy the bundle, because we already seen last week's show, Rizin 32. Dude, it was awesome. It was action packed from bell to bell, like we were saying. And the one we were talking about, the Marine, the U.S. Marine Tanner Lorenko, dude. There was low expectations for that fight, and then the Marine just went in there and just kicked ass in exciting fashion. And dude, that's what I was saying. The Gyrene and the Epic Rizin ring, that's a potent mix. And you know what? Just like for any other international fighter, any other good fighter, anybody unleashed in the Epic Rizin ring under the superior rule set, dude, the potential for violence and action is off the charts. So, dude, you're going to see. And like Jay Krish, we were saying earlier, you missed out on the conversation where we were talking about the pros and cons of the ring and the cage. And, we were saying how Drew didn't like it, the aesthetics of it, didn't like the look of it sometimes. And it was for like the live events. It does suck because, the cage has the crossbar at the top that kind of blocks the view a little bit. And it's like, it's not as aesthetically pleasing as the ring. But there's a lot of benefits to it. Like there's no restarts. You don't have to worry about that no more. And just all kinds of stuff like that. And there's no more. We don't have to worry about them. Sometimes, the fighters would fall out of the ring. Like when they would be grappling up against the ropes. Sometimes if they did the takedown too hard, they'd go through the ropes. Remember that? We saw that happen a couple of times. Don't have to worry about that no more with the cage. And remember, they're not moving away from the ring completely. This Rizin Trigger cage series, that's like the gravy for the Thanksgiving turkey mashed potatoes. It's a bonus event. It's a gravy event, just like the Landmark as well. CJ already revealed that Landmark scored 80,000 buys with just 4 fights on the card. Dude, that's pretty good, because they were charging an arm and a leg for that. Remember, there was like $30 or $40 just for 4 fights in Japan, and they scored 80,000 buys. Dude, I'm telling you guys, the future looks bright. Don't worry about all the haters and the doom and gloomers and stuff like that. They're not taking the fact that we're still under COVID protocols. And dude, you'll see the New Year's Eve event, this event with the first cage event, and then the New Year's Eve event. I mean, dude, and you guys saw on the Rizin 32, the fighters are becoming more and more acclimated to the Epic Rizin Superior Rule Set, and the action is getting amped up with every successive event. It's just getting better and better. So I'm telling you guys, the future is bright, and the new golden era is here, and Epic Rizin is the key. And New Year's Eve is going to turn that key for you guys, and you'll see 2022. It's going to be awesome. I can't wait. I just can't wait to
interrupt you, Jay. Jay, we're running
go
out
ahead.
of
Sorry,
time.
I'm just going on a rant. It's got me
quickly
excited.
give my picks for 3 fights I'm looking forward to. And it's pretty easy. Xi'an versus Full Sling, because it's going to be awesome. Drag out, knockdown, whatever. Poirier versus Nakata, because this truly will cement a future featherweight star, as CJ said.
Yes.
And Shoji versus Hagiwara for like the same thing. I'm also a Hagiwara mark. I think he's awesome.
Yes.
I love his attitude. Like I love. It's such a it's so unlike like other Japanese fighters, and I think it's like he's so cool. I think that's the other thing. He's like he's also cool. Um, and yeah, that's Ryzen Trigger. It's not the
So,
first. It's
with
called
all that being said, you
yeah.
want me to go ahead and close this shit out before you give out how we can all listen to this? No, wait, actually, I know how y'all can listen to this great content. You can follow us on Twitter at We Are Rising Pod. My Twitter handle is at ChrisGary92. Jay's is at JayWolf1, right?
Yes, sir. That's how you know it's me. It's misspelled, so you know it's me. I'm the one and only JayWolf.
Andrew is at ABinja1. And of course, you can check out the show on Stitcher, SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Podbean, or your favorite podcast app of choice. And we hope you subscribe to this YouTube channel that you're watching this on for more information or just some more great clips and interviews like this. As for Rizin, you can follow them on social media. They're on Facebook and Twitter they're on Facebook and Instagram at Rizin Fighting Federation. They're on Twitter at Rizin_PR and at Rizin_English. And they are on YouTube. Just search for them on Google, you lazy bastards. But also, more importantly, if you're in the United States, if you're in Canada, if you're in Mexico, internationally around the world outside Japan, you can check out live-now.com because Rizin Trigger 1 this upcoming weekend, Sunday, November 28th. Well, for those past midnight Eastern, but it'll be November 27th for everybody else around the country. Midnight Eastern, 11 p.m. Central, 9 p.m. Pacific. You're going to get 13 action-packed fights. Well, 14 action-packed fights. That's going to be guaranteed action from start to finish. And if you get the Rizin bundle for $29.99, you can get Rizin 32 for free. But other than that, that's about it from us. For now, we are thankful you are a part of Rizin Fan Nation, and we are thankful that y'all are joining us or have joined us on the We Are Rizin podcast. Be safe, take care of yourself and each other, and as the great Lenny Hart always likes to say as we close this in parting, and on that note,